A monstrous, multi-eyed entity, Qin rises from a fiery abyss, her massive form casting an ominous shadow. Below, 12 figures perform a ritualistic dance, their movements fueling the terrifying descent of the ancient evil. The world is plagued by entities beyond comprehension. What defies natural order is known as Yao, manifesting as grotesque, fanged beasts with glowing eyes and menacing visages. From spiritual beings called Jing to lingering souls that refuse to disperse, known as Gui, and even abnormal objects dubbed Guai, these dark forces lurk in every corner, each more terrifying than the last. To combat these threats, an ancient office known as Silly Xiaowei, or the Crouching Tiger, was established by Emperor Wu of Han. These formidable warriors, clad in dark armor, hunted down witchcraft, poisons, and all manner of chaotic spirits under the eerie glow of a blood-red moon, pacifying the land of Shenzhou. This ancient struggle continued, with the veil of reality slowly shifting, until the pivotal year 1900 of the Western calendar, when new, ominous forces began to emerge from fractured dimensions. A young woman, trembling with terror, desperately pleads for help from behind a wardrobe, her voice cracking with fear as she cries out, begging someone to save her from an unseen horror. From the other end of the line, a calm voice attempts to soothe her, asking her to describe what happened. They inquire if it was a robbery or if someone was directly threatening her safety. Her eyes wide with terror, the young woman frantically denies both possibilities, explaining to the officer that she encountered something unclean, a pair of red embroidered shoes. The officer, confused, repeats the description, prompting the young woman to elaborate on the ancient bound-foot shoes. She recounts how she bought them in Jiangnan, and ever since, strange and terrifying events haven't ceased. She describes the apparition, a woman with flowing black hair, dressed in red, wearing those very shoes. This spectral figure, Qin Yang, simply stares without a word, drawing closer in her dreams with each passing night. The dreams grew increasingly vivid and horrifying. Qin Yang's face, once merely unsettling, now appears grotesque and skeletal, her eyes bloodshot and her smile a horrifying rictus, drawing ever closer. Huddled in the wardrobe, the young woman sobs, asking if anyone can imagine her torment. She reveals her desperate attempt to burn the cursed shoes, but to no avail. Despite her efforts, the shoes relentlessly pursue her. Just moments ago, they reappeared at her bedside, a chilling testament to their inescapable curse. Her voice rising to a frantic shriek, the young woman desperately calls out to the officers, questioning why they haven't arrived yet, her pleas dissolving into panicked cries. She reveals her hiding spot in the wardrobe of the inner room, frantically urging her mother to come quickly. Suddenly, the phone connection breaks, replaced by a chilling static sound. Her eyes widen in sheer terror, reflecting the chilling silence as the call drops. A single, desperate word escapes her lips, questioning if the officer is still there. The static crackles again, but this time, a sinister voice emerges, revealing that it has found her. The young woman's face contorts in ultimate horror as the ominous presence looms directly behind her. With a desperate surge of adrenaline, the young woman turns and flees, realizing that no one is coming to save her. She must run, for her life depends on it. Her escape is abruptly halted by a thunderous crash, forcing her to look back in startled terror, the sound echoing ominously through the room. The horrifying sound continues, her face frozen in a silent scream, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her eyes reflect the absolute despair of her inescapable fate. Qin Yang's grotesque face appears once more, blood dripping from her eyes and mouth, as a chilling voice declares it an auspicious day, a dark prophecy of impending doom. Red, flowing tendrils engulf the scene, as the eerie command, "Lift the red bridal trousseau," signals the commencement of a sinister ritual, sealing a tragic destiny. Under the glow of a blood-red moon, Qin Yang sits, holding the lifeless head of the young woman in her lap. The horrifying scene is punctuated by the chilling declaration, "1 inch, 1 grudge," signifying a vengeful, inescapable fate. Crimson liquid, resembling blood, drips ominously, marking the passage of a hurried year, a period stained with darkness and unresolved grievances. The scene abruptly shifts to a peaceful residential complex, a stark contrast to the horrors that preceded it, as if a new chapter is about to unfold. 2 police cars are parked outside the complex, their presence suggesting that the earlier distress call has finally been answered, though likely too late for the victim. Wei Han, sweeping outside his home, observes the police activity next door. He muses on the ill fortune of having something happen so soon after he just moved into the neighborhood. He reflects on the previous owner's desire for the place to be redeveloped, a wish that narrowly failed. Wei Han sighs, grateful for a temporary place to stay in the city while he searches for work, unaware of the dark history lurking nearby. Wei Han's temporary peace is shattered as an ambulance and police vehicle pull up to the neighboring complex, officers already in motion. Wei Han watches from his doorway as two officers carefully carry a body bag from the building, a grim sight that makes him realize, hiss, looks like something really did happen over there. Suddenly, a sharp, resonant "W" echoes from inside his own home, drawing Wei Han's gaze with a jolt of surprise. Reacting instantly, Wei Han rushes back inside, his mind racing. He questions, what was that sound? Don't tell me some thief has taken a liking to my shabby little house too? Inside, Wei Han scans his humble dwelling, sighing in relief. Phew, looks like I was overthinking it. Then again, with the little gold I have left, we're so poor even a thief would cry after breaking in. Yet, a nagging feeling lingers. But his gaze settles on a small shrine, where a golden waist tag now stands upright. Wei Han frowns, recalling, why is this waist tag standing upright? I clearly remember laying it flat just now. Picking up the ornate tag, Wei Han studies its inscription. HM? Great Han, Silly Xiao Wei, he mutters, deciphering the ancient characters. As Wei Han holds the tag, a colossal, fiery tiger spirit with glowing eyes suddenly manifests behind him, radiating an immense, intimidating presence. Wei Han stares in disbelief, surrounded by swirling dark energy. He questions the apparition. What is this? A tiger on patrol? A realization dawns on him. The waist tag the old man left behind. Don't tell me it's some kind of divine artifact or something? As the formidable armored spirit of a warrior appears behind him, Wei Han proudly exclaims, that was passed down through my ancestors? So our ancestors really did have glory days. A sharp hiss escapes Wei Han's lips as a sudden, painful sensation courses through him. The golden waist tag presses against Wei Han's arm, leaving a distinct GUAPO mark as if carving itself into his skin. Wei Han's hand hovers over the waist tag, now lying on a piece of paper, as a single DI of blood drips onto the ancient parchment. The blood activates the paper, transforming it into a glowing scroll surrounded by dark, swirling energy. It declares, hereby declared, all disorder, calamity of witchcraft, and rebellion of all evil fall under the jurisdiction of the office of Silly Xiao Wei of the Great Han. Whoever violates our sheriff's orders, ensnares spirits, or causes chaotic spirits shall be seized and executed. Wei Han stares at the glowing decree, puzzled. He wonders, what's this, a wanted notice? His eyes fall to the bottom of the scroll, where a pair of distinctive red embroidered shoes is depicted. Wei Han realizes, and that pair of red embroidered shoes drawn at the end, that's the wanted target? With a determined look, Wei Han decides, whenever something strange happens, there's usually something behind it. If I don't understand something, I'll ask the internet. Hours later, Wei Han sits at his computer, frustrated. Aside from ghost stories on forums, all I'm getting are top-selling gold-trimmed red embroidered slippers on Taobao. There isn't a single useful clue online about these red embroidered shoes at all. Lost in thought, Wei Han suddenly connects the dots. Come to think of it, the waist tag reacted at exactly the moment the police were carrying out the corpse from the neighboring complex. He looks out the window, noticing a sudden, dense fog rolling in. What's going on? Why did such a heavy fog suddenly roll in? Venturing outside, Wei Han spots a faint red light amidst the swirling fog. He muses, that faint red light. Could another police car have pulled up over here? Instead of a police car, Wei Han finds himself standing before a grand, ancient temple-like structure, partially obscured by the thick, unnatural mist. Wei Han walks towards a massive, gnarled tree dominating the courtyard. Beneath it, a shadowy figure stirs. A chilling chant echoes. The 18th day of the first lunar month, an auspicious day, lift the sorghum. The chant continues, focusing on the figure Qin Yang in her red bridal attire. Lift the red bridal trousseau, 1 inch, 1 grudge, in hasty tailoring. Wei Han looks down into a large, dark cauldron, where Qin Yang, in her traditional red dress, is suspended, her form eerily still. Qin Yang's face, partially concealed by her veil, reveals a terrifying, sharp-toothed grin and glowing red eyes as she addresses an unseen presence. My lord, you've come to see this. A deafening Hong Long Long reverberates as brilliant blue lightning violently strikes the ancient building, signaling the climax of the dark ritual. Wei Han stands in the doorway, clutching his umbrella, trapped as tendrils of dark, ominous energy swirl around him. Qin Yang fully emerges in her monstrous form, her impossibly long, wild black hair thrashing around her, her glowing red eyes fixed, and a chilling grin plastered across her face. Wei Han, partially shielded by his umbrella, looks up in utter shock and horror as the monstrous Qin Yang looms over him, her wild hair visible in the background. The horror on Little 15's face is palpable as he gasps out Qin Yang's name, the monstrous figure still looming in the unseen space above. Stop him quickly, the female companion cries out, her hand outstretched in desperation as little 15 rushes headlong into the danger, surrounded by swirling crimson shadows. It's too dangerous. Does he have a death wish? Little 15 presses forward, ignoring the warnings, as the ominous red tendrils writhe around him. He utters a single, confused what? Standing amidst the intensifying crimson aura, Little 15 poses a profound question, addressing an unseen officer Zhou. When a person has suffered their whole life because of a mistake, and their lifelong wish is to atone for it with death, should we stop them? Wei Han, his expression solemn, considers the female companion's unspoken concern. He muses, do we even have the right to stop him and make decisions for him based on our own standards of judgment? Can people truly empathize with one another? The old man's internal monologue continues, I am old, so old that I can barely walk anymore. As the monstrous Qi Nyang descends, Little 15 collapses to the ground, his voice resolute. There are some things I have never forgotten, nor do I dare to forget. A single tear streaks down Little 15's face as a glowing blue orb pulses within his chest, drawing the shadowy, clawed hand of Qi Nyang closer. Little 15 bows deeply, kowtowing before the enraged Qi Nyang, his voice filled with reverence and regret. Qi Nyang, Little 15 kowtows to you. Tears stream down Little 15's face as he sobs, his voice raw with anguish. I'm sorry, I failed you. Wei Han, his gaze distant, makes a difficult decision. Let's just let him resolve this knot in his heart for now. The female companion's eyes widen in sudden understanding, her face etched with concern. Could it be? This is the crux of the malicious ghost's lingering obsession. Narrator explains the female companion's grim realization, then a sincere apology from someone who misunderstood her back then, and their death at her hands should elevate the malicious ghost's extreme negative emotions. That will be a good opportunity. The female companion clenches her fists in frustration, observing Qi Nyang's unchanged demeanor. No, she hasn't changed in the slightest. This means the old man's apology didn't shake the malicious ghost at all. The monstrous Qi Nyang unleashes a terrifying roar, her wild hair flaring as she lunges with deadly intent towards the kneeling Little 15. Tears of both sorrow and acceptance stream down Little 15's face, illuminated by a golden glow. It's what I owe, it's what I owe. This is what I was supposed to repay you anyway. Little 15 cries out in agony as the crimson tendrils of Qi Nyang violently strike him, throwing his body backward. As Little 15 falls, his hand is shown clutching a small, faintly glowing orb, the source of his vital essence. A serene humanoid Qi Nyang, her long black hair flowing, extends her hand with a gentle smile, holding a small, familiar orb in her palm. Scene shifts to a vast, clear blue sky dotted with soft white clouds as numerous ethereal rings drift serenely through the air. The younger Little 15, in traditional attire, stands before the humanoid Qi Nyang, who reaches out towards the orb he holds, a silent exchange taking place. A close-up reveals Qi Nyang's elegantly adorned red shoe as she delicately steps onto a weathered stone block. The young Little 15 looks on in dismay as dark tendrils erupt from the ground beside him, his internal monologue echoing, I know I can never fully repay it. The older Little 15, bathed in a radiant golden glow, smiles serenely towards the shadowy essence of Qi Nyang, his voice filled with unwavering resolve. Let me use this life to repay you. With a final, peaceful smile, Little 15's face glows with an ethereal golden light as he utters his last words. Qi Nyang, Little 15 will go on ahead. The sky erupts with crackling blue lightning, striking down upon the ancient building, mirroring the raw power unleashed by the recent sacrifice. The female companion turns to Wei Han, her face etched with concern, questioning if the knot in the heart referred not to the female ghosts, but to an old man's. She laments that the ghost's resentment has only intensified, leaving them in a desperate situation. Amidst the splintered wooden floor, Wei Han stands resolute, gripping his umbrella. He declares that since events have escalated to this point, there is only one path forward. Wei Han propels himself forward, kicking off a shattered wooden beam, his body a blur of motion as he prepares for the inevitable confrontation. Qi Nyang, in her ominous red robes, unleashes a torrent of dark, sharp energy, her form radiating a fierce determination as the command to fight echoes. Spectral, glowing green skeletal warrior manifests, pledging its loyalty and offering immediate assistance to its excellency. Wei Han charges forward, his sword glowing with a potent green aura, a battle cry of fight erupting from him as he enters the fray. With fierce resolve, Wei Han grips his sword, its blade crackling with green energy as he offers its power to his excellency. Wei Han executes a powerful, sweeping attack with his sword, leaving trails of crimson energy in its wake as he unleashes a flurry of strikes. Wei Han's blade collides with Qin Yang's dark energy, a violent impact of red and black as their powers clash in a brutal exchange. The female companion expresses her astonishment at Wei Han's raw strength, noting the unadorned yet murderous intent of his swordsmanship. An observer comments that this is indeed an ancient battlefield technique, forged and tempered in true combat. The female companion continues, lamenting that Wei Han's formidable swordsmanship, while deadly against mortals, is insufficient against demons and ghosts. She grimly concludes that if the battle prolongs, Wei Han is doomed to die. Wei Han pushes himself, his eyes burning with fierce determination, thinking, just a little bit more, if I can just close the distance with her again, I can. Brutal strike of dark energy tears into Wei Han, sending blood splattering across the room. A shocked exclamation questions Wei Yuan's intent and actions. Wei Han collapses to the floor, his sword clattering away as a pool of blood spreads beneath him, marking his grievous injury. Despite his severe wounds, Wei Han struggles to maintain his grip on his sword, his face contorted in pain and defiance. Wei Han looks sharply to the side, streaks of blue energy radiating behind him as a voice assures him, he did not abandon you. Qin Yang's skeletal face and glowing red eyes are revealed, her long black hair flowing wildly as a chilling history is recounted. Fu Pengyi of the Jiang, who served in the army in the 17th year, responded to the call to defend our Shenzhou and died a heroic death. Sheets of paper flutter downwards, scattering across the wooden floor, hinting at a revelation. Qin Yang stands silently, her ominous presence framed by the continuous descent of scattered papers around her. A blood-stained letter lies discarded on the wooden floor, its crimson splatters telling a silent, tragic story. The scene shifts to a devastating siege, a fortress engulfed in flames and burning ships littering the fiery waters, painting a picture of utter destruction. Dark, choppy waves churn beneath a grim sky, reflecting the distant, ominous glow of an ongoing inferno. Lifeless bodies lie strewn across a desolate shore, illuminated by the distant, fiery wreckage of a burning ship as a haunting thought begins. If I am not destined. If her destiny was not to find peace, then she would accept a parting only by death. These were the final, haunting words from her husband, Fu Pengyi, echoing in Qin Yang's mind as she stood, a figure of profound sorrow in her blood-red robes. Suddenly, a guttural scream tore from Qin Yang's throat as she clutched a blood-soaked paper, her eyes wide with anguish, collapsing to the floor as if struck by an invisible force. Wei Han, kneeling with the same bloodied paper in hand, reflected on the countless words and experiences in the world, wondering if any could compare to the sorrowful wail of a malicious ghost. Outside, Qin Yang stood under a traditional eaves, her long black hair swaying slightly as heavy rain poured down, illuminated by a flash of distant lightning. Her eyes now glowed a sinister red against black scara, her face contorted in pain as she clutched her chest, uttering the name of her beloved, "My Lord Fu." The female companion watched Qin Yang from behind, her thoughts racing with disbelief that Wei Yuan had actually resolved the emotional knot of the malicious ghost, a feat far beyond her understanding. A single tear streaked down Qin Yang's cheek, her glowing red eyes fixed on something unseen, a profound sadness etched onto her face amidst the relentless rain. The intricate golden patterns on Qin Yang's red robe shimmered faintly, reflecting the dim light as she moved, her long dress sweeping across the wet, tiled ground. The heavy downpour continued, obscuring the ancient architecture in a veil of rain and shadows, creating a somber and melancholic atmosphere. Wei Han approached the kneeling Qin Yang, his voice calm as he asked if Lady Wan was lucid now, implying a return to her senses. Qin Yang, still bowed on the ground, responded with a tone of deep gratitude, thanking the young master for his blessing. Wei Han, standing tall with his sword planted before him and the female companion beside him, inquired if the lady had any remaining wishes. Qin Yang looked up, her red eyes wide with surprise as she echoed his question. Wishes? She gazed at the bloodied paper, her voice filled with despair, explaining that her Lord Fu had long passed and she herself was already dead, leaving her with no wishes. Her clawed hand, with its dark, sharp nails, rested on the paper, a single word escaping her lips, but Qin Yang then expressed a fragile hope, asking if she might see this era, the very land her lord once deeply loved and protected. Suddenly, a stern yellow coat man, armed with a drawn blade, stepped forward, warning Qin Yang to stop her wishful thinking, as they could not be sure she was harmless. Before the yellow coat man could strike, Wei Han lunged forward, his own sword flashing out to expertly parry the attack, protecting Qin Yang. Wei Han's hand gripped the hilt of his sword with incredible speed, demonstrating a mastery of the blade that left a blur in its wake. In a swift, decisive move, Wei Han blocked the yellow coat man's blade, his stance low and powerful, completely halting the aggressive attack. The yellow coat man, reeling from the sudden counter, gasped in surprise, admitting that Wei Han's swordsmanship was far superior to his own. Wei Han, his sword now lowered, apologized for his actions, stating he had his own judgment and would compensate the yellow coat man in the future, as Qin Yang watched from the ground. Under the shelter of an umbrella, Qin Yang wept softly, her tears a quiet testament to her sorrow and the weight of her past. Wei Han offered the umbrella to Qin Yang, a gentle smile gracing his lips, providing her with comfort and protection from the rain. Together, Wei Han and Qin Yang walked down a sun-drenched, ancient street, Qin Yang expressing her surprise that this place remained unchanged from her past, a poignant blend of old memories and new beginnings. As they continued, Qin Yang reminisced about the street's vibrant past, recalling how every morning, villagers would gather to sell fresh vegetables, Chinese cabbages, and even frosted persimmons in winter. She remembered old Chen's soy sauce shop and a small noodle shop with just 3 tables, serving 2 liang of noodles with a spoonful of soy sauce. Qin Yang reflected on her youth, recalling how she and her Lord Fu would slowly walk down this very street, arm in arm, observing others buying vegetables and children playing. Yet, she mused, perhaps she shouldn't dwell on such thoughts. Past a traditional building, and Qin Yang pointed it out as the Jixiang workshop, a place where she once loved to buy rouge. She had always believed that no matter how times changed, daughters would always need to paint their eyebrows and apply makeup, ensuring such a shop would never close. However, she observed with a hint of sadness, nowadays daughters no longer used rouge. Qin Yang then recalled Lord Fu's words, that changes in worldly affairs are beyond human prediction, realizing this must be exactly what he meant. With a tear welling in her glowing red eye, Qin Yang expressed her regret, saying she had intended to see the new Jiangnan for Lord Fu, but everywhere she looked, she only saw the landscapes of old days. She felt she had made a fool of herself in front of Wei Han. She concluded that if no one used rouge anymore, then no one must be singing or listening to the old songs either. Wei Han, holding the umbrella, offered a reassuring smile, simply stating, "There are." He explained that traditional opera and its operatic singing style are still beloved by many young people, and while this ancient land now boasts many new things, the old traditions haven't been forgotten. They continue to grow, inclusive and open-minded, a testament to Shenzhou's magnanimity. Wei Han affirmed that those who should be remembered will never be forgotten, a sentiment echoed by the towering monument under the starry night sky. The grand stone staircase led up to the illuminated monument, a silent sentinel in the night. Standing at its base, Wei Han gestured towards the monument, inviting Qin Yang to observe the names of those from Jiangnan Kirit who sacrificed their lives for the country, etched upon it one by one. Wei Han admitted he had been afraid of ghosts since childhood, acknowledging that many people share this fear, and cemeteries have always been taboo, especially at night. However, he explained that a martyr's cemetery is different. Even children know that the heroes and martyrs will protect them. He expressed gratitude, saying all who came after should thank them, and he thanked Qin Yang as well. Qin Yang's hand, with its long, dark nails, gently reached out to touch the cold, smooth surface of the monument, her expression unreadable. Her fingers traced the etched name, Fu Pengyi, a name that resonated deeply within her. As she touched the monument, Qin Yang whispered, "Fu Residence," a wave of memories washing over her. Wei Han looked at Qin Yang, asking if there was anywhere else she wished to go. With a melancholic smile, Qin Yang simply replied, "No." A golden, intricately designed object on Wei Han's hip began to tremble and glow, signaling a system notification. The system confirmed the task disappeared, allowing Wei Han to claim compensation and obtain the 7 revolutions cultivation method. It revealed the task's origin, the reason for taking form of a malicious ghost, and the mournful wail of that mother who lost everything when passing by Fuchin residential quarters. Simultaneously, manifestation unlocked, granting him the secret art scroll monsters, unnatural forces, and chaotic spirits. King of gods. Golden energy swirled around Wei Han. From below, 2 figures observed Wei Han and Qin Yang at the monument's summit. One of them urgently pointed, exclaiming, "See, Captain, they're over there." The man in the yellow jacket, holding a small stick, calmly instructed his companion, the woman in the blue shirt, to wait a moment. A sudden realization or shock crossed Qin Yang's face as she glanced back down the long, illuminated path. Turning to Wei Han, Qin Yang asked, "Young master, you still have something to say to me, don't you?" She then questioned if it was because she had once attacked him. Wei Han, his gaze intense, directly confronted her, asking, "You killed people, right?" A haunting vision or memory flashed, showing a woman with blonde hair, dressed in pajamas, weeping on a red couch, with ominous red liquid staining the floor beneath her. The chilling words echoed, "Innocent people." As the tension mounted, a sudden flash of blue lightning illuminated the night sky above the monument, accompanied by a booming rumble. The ground beneath Wei Han and Qin Yang seemed to hum with residual energy from the lightning strike. Wei Han drew his sword, which now glowed with a potent golden light. A system note appeared. Note 1:1 imbue spirit into a weapon can imitate the Panchan sword. Qin Yang's past experiences, the despair, the sinister nature of the human heart, the reason for her malicious ghost form, and the mournful wail of the mother who lost everything in Fuchin residential quarters, all seemed vivid in her mind. She mused that whether it was a crouching tiger, hidden dragon, or a knight errant, sometimes they couldn't change anything. Perhaps this was real life. With a resolute gaze, Wei Han declared, "We can only make choices." Continuing from the previous beat, Wei Han stands firm, engulfed in a blazing tiger aura. He points his sword, declaring that murderers must pay with their lives, embodying the resolve of a great Han Colonel Director. Qin Yang's eyes glow with malevolent red light as she retorts, refusing to simply await her demise. With a terrifying roar, Qin Yang unleashes her power, her long hair whipping wildly as dark green energy surges around her. Wei Han braces himself, clutching a golden relic. Qin Yang's power erupts, manifesting as a colossal, pulsating red and black energy field that spreads across the ground in jagged waves. Devastating energy impact forces bystanders to shield themselves, their faces contorted in shock and alarm as a voice exclaims, "And not good!" Dark tendrils of energy coil around Qin Yang's feet, emphasizing the sinister nature of her transformation. Qin Yang's transformed state is fully revealed, her multiple glowing red eyes fixated on Wei Han as she challenges him, declaring they must test who lives and who dies. A system prompt appears, revealing that karma is predetermined and fate cannot be changed, as Qin Yang has once again transformed into a malicious ghost, making an ultimate battle unavoidable. Qin Yang descends with terrifying speed, claws extended, as Wei Han expertly parries her attack with his sword, the clash creating a blur of motion. Qin Yang's clawed hand clamps down on Wei Han's sword blade, demonstrating her immense strength and control. Wei Han strains, his muscles tensed as he struggles to maintain his grip on the sword against Qin Yang's powerful hold. Qin Yang's expression shifts to one of surprise, as Wei Han's unwavering grip on the sword defies her expectations. Wei Han looks up, his face etched with confusion and a hint of betrayal as he questions Qin Yang's actions. Wei Han holds his sword steady, aimed at Qin Yang, who kneels before him, enveloped in a shimmering aura of golden, fiery energy. Qin Yang's eyes gleam with a chilling intensity as she asks Wei Han if he still desires to hear her sing, offering one more tune with a sinister smile. With a sigh of resignation, Wei Han agrees to her request, his gaze fixed elsewhere as his umbrella lies discarded beside him. Wei Han settles down, taking up a guqin, and offers to accompany Qin Yang with his music. Behind, Wei Han is seen playing the guqin, his music filling the air as he gazes towards Qin Yang, who stands bathed in a soft golden light. The scene shifts to a moonlit courtyard, where a tall monument stands amidst ancient trees as a melancholic narration speaks of lost origins and scattering years, a sorrow echoing from the past. The view transitions to a sprawling cityscape at night, illuminated by countless windows, as poetic verses describe delicate threads drifting, a moment of pause, and a reflection catching a charming, skewed image. A hand rests gently on a wooden surface, a quiet pause in the unfolding narrative. As Wei Han plays, he muses about old Mr. Jiang, revealing that the man has always carried a burden of guilt in his heart. Qin Yang, bathed in golden light, questions the point of revisiting past matters, adamantly stating that she has no desire to forgive those involved. Wei Han closes his eyes, acknowledging Qin Yang's feelings with a calm understanding, recognizing her unforgiveness as a natural response. As the monument glows with golden light, Qin Yang's voice echoes, declaring that their paths diverge here. All that remains of Qin Yang are her traditional red shoes and a stack of papers, left behind on the ground amidst the fading golden light. Wei Han turns, relieved to see his allies approaching, but his relief quickly turns to concern as he asks about Qin Yang, only to be met with the grim news that her soul has shattered, returning to heaven and earth. The man in the yellow jacket questions the unusual technique, wondering how the individual can maintain such a suspended posture while playing the suqin. A sharp gaze drops, reflecting a complex inner state, perhaps in contemplation or deep focus. Wei Han, suspended in an improbable posture, continues to play the suqin as one of his spiritual subordinates, clearly exhausted, complains that their soul is bloated and weak, unable to hold on much longer, while another asks if he is nearly finished. Wei Han's foot lowers to the ground as he coughs, acknowledging the two onlookers are awake and stating his intention to depart. As Wei Han turns to leave, the man in the yellow jacket demands to know his true identity. Wei Han replies casually, claiming to be merely an ordinary person guarding a museum, inviting them to visit if they have the time. The scene shifts to a tranquil, dense forest, bathed in the soft glow of pre-dawn light. A guide in a small boat points out the ancient Jiangnan circuit, highlighting its preserved state and past rituals, while Wei Han adds details about the historic Jixiang Rouge shop, a place once famous for its fine cosmetics. The guide continues, pointing out the Chunshao Garden, once a major theater garden during the Great Ming, and anticipates its future opening to the public for tea, opera, and a full experience of ancient customs. Wei Han walks along the misty riverbank, pondering the forgotten romantic tales of Jiangnan's past, questioning who truly remembers them. Under the vast, starry night sky, Wei Han sighs, concluding that perhaps remembering the past isn't always a good thing. Suddenly, a fierce thunderstorm erupts over the mountains, with jagged lightning illuminating the drenched forests below. Inside a dimly lit wooden cabin, a man named Fang Cheng, a 30-year-old single mountaineer, huddles against the cold. Fang Cheng recounts how his group of 7 mountaineers sought shelter in a forest ranger's cabin after being caught in heavy rain, finding only the ranger's daughter there. Fang Cheng, braving the torrential downpour, hurries out of the cabin, muttering about needing to quickly relieve himself. A satisfied smile spreads across Fang Cheng's face as he finds the heavy rain surprisingly refreshing. Looking back at the cabin, Fang Cheng notices the lights are still on, prompting him to wonder why anyone would be awake so late at midnight. Driven by curiosity, Fang Cheng cautiously peeks through the cabin window, his eyes scanning the interior. Inside, a woman sits at a small table, meticulously applying makeup in front of a mirror, an unusual activity for such a late hour. Fang Cheng observes, perplexed, questioning why someone would be applying makeup so late at night, a sense of unease beginning to creep in. His gaze lingers on the woman's exposed skin, a thought escaping him about her alluring complexion. Suddenly, the illusion shatters, revealing the woman as a skeletal figure with glowing green eyes, her reflection in the mirror showing the terrifying truth. She turns, asking if he agrees, as Fang Cheng gasps in shock. The scene abruptly shifts, revealing a pair of hands holding a display case containing red shoes. A voice explains that after Qin Yang's resentment dissipated, he gained the magical ability Imbue Spirit, and as this generation's crouching tiger captain, he is destined to bear certain responsibilities. Wei Han, deep in thought, reveals that his blood now blends with the magical ability to exorcise ghosts, granting him significant power against monsters, unnatural forces, and chaotic spirits. A golden, fiery aura emanates as Wei Han carefully places an item into a box, explaining that this action can also be considered applying a layer of seal. Wei Han inserts an earbud, revealing that he used modern technology to record Qin Yang's final song, which he then uploaded online to widespread acclaim from netizens. Wei Han leans back in his rocking chair, a satisfied smirk playing on his lips. He muses that Qin Yang's final performance was indeed a swan song, living up to the reputation of the top courtesan of the Jiangnan circuit. Unseen by Wei Han, an elderly woman peeks around a red pillar of the traditional courtyard, observing him with a curious gaze. Wei Han's aunt emerges, her face etched with concern as she asks if he truly lives in this ancient dwelling. Wei Han, slightly surprised by her sudden appearance, confirms his residence and politely inquires about her needs. Wei Han's aunt gestures around the courtyard, warning him that the place doesn't feel clean and advises him against living there any longer. Wei Han smiles confidently, dismissing her concerns by stating that in modern society, which emphasizes science, there's no place for ghosts or monsters. He further asserts his fearlessness, declaring that as a young man full of yang energy, he is not afraid of such things. Wei Han's aunt sighs in exasperation, lamenting that young people today refuse to listen to advice and will inevitably suffer for it later. As Wei Han stands, a golden, tiger-like emblem briefly glows on his hip, radiating a subtle, powerful energy. Back in his rocking chair, Wei Han lets out a weary sigh, wishing he could rest after his trip to Jiangnan, seemingly unbothered by the earlier warning. The peaceful moment is shattered by the loud roar of a motorcycle engine, its rear wheel visible as it approaches the courtyard. A figure on a sleek motorcycle speeds into the ancient courtyard, disrupting the quiet atmosphere. Wei Han looks up, a slight frown on his face as the newcomer addresses him, calling him Curator Wei. The woman removes her helmet, revealing her long brown hair as Wei Han recognizes her, questioning if she is Officer Zhou. Officer Zhou's hand rests firmly on the motorcycle's handle, her presence exuding a confident demeanor. Wei Han walks towards Officer Zhou, beginning to correct her on his title, but she interrupts him. Officer Zhou presents Wei Han with an ornate sword, explaining that it's a gift of gratitude for his previous actions, as his own sword was damaged. Wei Han examines the new blade with genuine appreciation, exclaiming that it's a good sword. Officer Zhou smiles, pleased that he likes it. Officer Zhou elaborates on the sword's quality, stating it was forged by the Longquan Lingjie last year, with craftsmanship comparable to immortal swords, rarely seen on the market. She adds that it was a repayment for his life-saving grace, acquired from the Special Operations Group. Wei Han's expression turns thoughtful, a hint of suspicion in his eyes as he questions Officer Zhou, believing her visit isn't solely about the sword. Officer Zhou smiles, extending a white envelope with a red symbol, expressing her hope that Curator Wei will join them. Wei Han looks at her, his curiosity piqued, and demands to know why. Officer Zhou's expression turns serious as she explains that Wei Han is no ordinary person, and she will explain simply. The narrative shifts to a global context, revealing that over 100 years ago, the spiritual energy that had lain dormant for nearly 1,000 years began to recover, enveloping Earth in mystical blue and purple currents. As spiritual energy surged, figures resembling enlightened monks emerged, radiating golden light as they cultivated, signifying a new era of power. Officer Zhou explains that while cultivation became possible, other anomalies, like ghosts and monsters, also began to appear. Wei Han, linking it to his earlier conversation, questions if she means ghosts and monsters? Officer Zhou corrects him, stating it's more accurately described as all recorded mysterious events, emphasizing the broader scope of the phenomena. A terrifying, demonic face with a single glowing red eye and sharp teeth appears, as the narrator explains that at that time, humanity's lack of understanding about demons and ghosts led to widespread unrest and casualties. From the shadows, a multitude of grotesque demons emerge, some with gaping maws and razor teeth, others with single glowing eyes and twisted forms, their terrifying visages embodying the unknown threats that plagued humanity, causing chaos and countless deaths. To safeguard the common populace, a specialized branch of the Jinyui, an ancient organization, was established with the sole purpose of suppressing these monstrous entities. However, after a devastating rebellion on Sakura Island, the Great Ming Dynasty disbanded the Jinyui. Only a single branch survived, becoming the precursor to what is now known as the Special Operations Group. As the world changed, the recovery of spiritual energy accelerated, and the frequency of demonic appearances in the human realm escalated. A female companion approaches Wei Han, recognizing his immense strength, and extends an invitation for him to join their ranks. The female companion reaches out, explaining that their goal is to collectively subdue demons and exorcise evil spirits, offering Wei Han a place among them. Wei Han looks on with a surprised expression, questioning the name of the organization, Jinyui. The narrator clarifies the branch's mission, recruiting Taoist and Buddhist disciples to monitor the world, subdue demons, and exorcise evil spirits, all while a figure meditates within a vibrant spiritual aura. Tracing their lineage back 2 millennia, the narrator recounts the history of various organizations, from the Jinyui in Great Ming to the Imperial City Department in Great Tang, all dedicated to combating monsters and unnatural forces, proving that warriors like Wei Han have always existed. The female companion admits their current authority doesn't match the historical Jinyui, then addresses Wei Han directly, reiterating her invitation. Wei Han smiles, holding his ornate sword, and humbly states that he is merely a museum curator, implying he doesn't see himself as worthy of such an important role. The female companion looks on, her expression shifting to surprise as Wei Han's words register. A mysterious red glow emanates from the female companion's chest, hinting at a hidden power or a system notification. Camera pans up a modern skyscraper, revealing it as the headquarters of the Special Operations Group. High Command, a stark contrast to the ancient organizations mentioned earlier. Inside the High Command, a meeting is underway with various figures seated around a table, including the female companion, discussing the recent events. An elder, identified as a Celestial Master's Mansion elder, expresses his disbelief and anger that a mere cultivator would dare reject an invitation from the Special Operations Group, demanding the female companion to chop this brat down for him. The female companion, with a determined gaze, grips the hilt of her sword, acknowledging the elder's decision and preparing for action. The female companion regretfully informs Wei Han that she must drop the matter, as she hadn't anticipated his refusal. However, she clarifies that the sword she offers is a repayment for him saving her life earlier, and he should still accept it regardless of his decision to join. Wei Han, with a slight smile, explains that he prefers a peaceful, ordinary life, as running around subduing demons and exorcising evil spirits simply doesn't suit him. Back in the meeting, the blue shirt woman, along with another female, tries to calm the enraged elder, reminding him that as an official organization, they cannot simply hack people, as it is illegal. The female companion discreetly touches an earpiece, suggesting she is receiving instructions or communicating with her team. The female companion hands Wei Han a document explaining it's a cold weapon usage permit. She clarifies that according to regulations, it's for those who have made significant contributions, ensuring it's legal and compliant. She adds that it would be a pity if his strength was wasted, unable to draw his sword against demons due to secular rules. She then delivers a stern warning. If Wei Han relies on this permit to commit crimes, the punishment he receives will be one level heavier than that of ordinary people. Wei Han accepts the permit from the female companion, a small card that now grants him the authority to wield his sword. As Wei Han examines the permit, the female companion rides away on her motorcycle, leaving him to ponder his newfound freedom and responsibility. Advertisement banner. A green-skinned man, his face etched with utter despair, laments that everything is gone. Beside him, a skeletal figure and a long-haired woman share his profound sadness, surrounded by swirling patterns of distress. Wei Han, with a puzzled expression, questions what exactly has vanished. The skeleton warrior, standing next to Qin Yang, prepares to elaborate on their shared predicament. The skeleton warrior dramatically recounts the tragic loss of their cola supply, explaining that Wei Han had consumed most of it over the past few days. Qin Yang, equally distraught, adds that Wei Han just gave away the last 2 cans, questioning the very meaning of their existence without their beloved drinks. Wei Han, with a wry smile, points out the absurdity of their despair, reminding them that as ghosts, they weren't truly alive to begin with. He then quickly reassures them, promising to buy more cola from the market that afternoon. The scene shifts to the Quan City Police Station, specifically the Special Operations Group office. A new voice introduces herself as Zhou Yi, the officer in charge of the current case. Zhou Yi continues, inviting those present to introduce themselves and explain the events that transpired, setting a serious tone for the investigation. Inside the police station, a group of individuals gathers around a table, their expressions a mix of apprehension and weariness, ready to recount their experiences. A man with glasses nervously introduces himself as Wu Shan, admitting he was the one who initiated the ill-fated mountain climbing trip. Next to him, a man in a beanie listens intently. The man in the beanie stares blankly, lost in a daze, his mind seemingly elsewhere as the gravity of the situation settles in. Zhou Yi, standing confidently, gestures towards the dazed man in the beanie, asking for his introduction. The man in the beanie snaps out of his trance, apologizing to the officer. He then makes an oddly personal comment, complimenting Zhou Yi on her skin. The man in the beanie finally introduces himself as Fang Chong, adding a self-deprecating note about his name meaning achieving nothing. Wei Han walks away from the police station, heading down a sun-drenched street towards the Quan City Convenience Market, his silhouette cast long before him. At a market stall, Wei Han's aunt, a friendly elderly woman, offers Wei Han some homemade seasonings, suggesting they'll enhance his appetite. Wei Han politely declines Wei Han's aunt's offer, assuring her that his appetite is perfectly fine and he doesn't need any special seasonings. Suddenly, Wei Han bumps into Fang Chong, a jolt of energy rippling through the air around them as they collide. Golden, fiery energy flares from Wei Han's waist token, vibrating intensely as if reacting to Fang Cheng's presence. Fang Cheng quickly apologizes for the collision. Wei Han, still processing the strange reaction of his token, dismisses it with a casual wave, telling Fang Cheng not to worry. Wei Han's thoughts race as he ponders why his waist token reacted so strongly to Fang Cheng, a growing suspicion forming in his mind. Fang Cheng, now walking through a bustling market, internally dismisses the older and coarser skin of the adults around him, deeming them unsuitable for his mysterious purpose. His internal monologue continues as he observes young women, concluding their skin is also unsuitable, believing cosmetics have ruined their natural complexion. He dismisses everyone he sees. Fang Cheng's eyes glow ominously red as he internally curses his predicament. He admits the female police officer had good skin, but her identity made her an impossible target. He desperately needs to find suitable skin to patch himself up soon. Fang Cheng watches a teacher bid farewell to her students. A young boy waves goodbye to his teacher, who advises the children to listen to their parents when they get home. Fang Cheng's face twists into a terrifying, wide grin, his fangs visible. He fixates on the young boy, internally exclaiming about the child's tender skin. As the innocent child walks home with a backpack, Fang Cheng follows closely behind, his mind consumed by a dark fantasy of tearing off the child's tender skin and using a magical incantation to graft it onto himself. Fang Cheng's sinister smile widens further as he observes the child entering an alley. He believes his opportunity has finally arrived. Suddenly, Fang Cheng's expression shifts to one of wide-eyed shock and alarm, as if something completely unexpected has happened. The grip tightens around his throat, cutting off his breath as the mysterious force exerts its immense power. His feet dangle helplessly in the air, the immense pressure on his windpipe stealing his strength. Ah, such great strength, Fang Chung gasps, struggling. Wei Han, his hand already scarred from previous struggles, lunges forward, attempting to free Fang Chung from the unseen assailant's grasp. A chilling system notification flashes. Monster Department Painted Skin Slave. A new threat has emerged as the Painted Skin Slave now targets a child. Can Wei Han successfully stop it? Fang Chung, now seemingly possessed, lets out a guttural scream, Wei, as he violently shoves Wei Han with unnatural force. With brutal force, Fang Chung attempts to stomp down on Wei Han, the ground cracking with the sheer impact. Fang Cheng's fist rockets forward with a sharp ka, aiming a devastating blow directly at Wei Han's head. With lightning reflexes, Wei Han activates his ornate dagger, deflecting Fang Cheng's powerful punch with a swift bai. Wei Han's dagger plunges deep into Fang Cheng's chest, yet the assailant remains unfazed. Wei Han realizes, this move of mine is one of the most vicious and ruthless moves from the experience of the Qi Army soldier soul. Wei Han's eyes widen in disbelief as Fang Chung shows no sign of injury. A chilling thought echoes in his mind. My attacks have no effect on him? Fang Chung presses his assault, forcing Wei Han to block a heavy punch with a resounding gudang, the impact reverberating through his arm. Fang Cheng's leg whips out in a powerful kick, forcing Wei Han to retreat. Wei Han observes, this guy is like he has no bones. Wei Han seizes the opportunity, bringing Fang Chung to one knee with a staggering Liang Chong, momentarily gaining the upper hand. As Wei Han pulls Fang Chung closer, a horrifying realization dawns on him. Painted skin, is a single piece of skin really all that's left of this guy? He questions, his voice laced with dread. A golden badge, intricately carved with a roaring beast, illuminates, revealing the title, Great Yuan Colonel, Director of Retainers Wei. Bathed in a radiant golden aura, Wei Han raises his dagger and commands, Imbue spirit. With a swift schwa, Wei Han plunges his spirit-imbued dagger down, aiming to neutralize the painted skin slave. Fang Chung collapses, his face shriveling with a chilling ganbi, revealing a skeletal, scarred visage where his eyes once were. Wei Han, holding his phone to his ear, speaks with urgency. Officer Zhou? Yes, I am Wei Han. My situation here is a bit special. Can you come over? The street is cordoned off by a red and white barrier as the distant wail of sirens, woo-woo, heralds the arrival of the authorities. The male officer reports to the female companion, Captain Zhou, as per your instructions, we've already instructed the kindergarten teachers to notify parents to pick up the other children. The male officer's expression darkens with concern. Only that child's parent hasn't arrived yet, he states, glancing towards the lone child in the background. The female companion turns to Wei Han, who is meticulously cleaning his dagger. What about your side? How's the situation? She inquires. Wei Han gestures to the lifeless form of Fang Chung. Here, it's already resolved. Painted skin slave, a human devoured by a ghost. Heart, liver, spleen, lungs, kidneys. Not even a single bone was left. Kneeling beside the husk that was once Fang Chung, the female companion adds, only a piece of human skin was left, and of the 3 ethereal souls and 7 corporeal souls, only one of each remained, hidden inside this human skin. The female companion's eyes widen in absolute shock as she recognizes the shriveled face. Fang Chung, she exclaims, a gasp escaping her lips. Wei Han looks at her, surprised. You recognize him? He asks. The female companion confirms, yes, one of the survivors from the previous mountain climbing disappearance case. Wei Han's brow furrows in confusion. One of, he repeats, realizing the implication. The female companion, scrolling through her phone, reveals the other one is named Wu Shan, the initiator of that mountain climbing trip. With the urgent information about Wu Shan, the female companion immediately contacts her team. She sternly commands, Xian Yi, go check Wu Shan's current location immediately. As Wei Han kneels beside her motorcycle, the female companion hands him a pink helmet, instructing him simply, get on. Wei Han, now wearing the helmet and seated on the bike, offers a polite thank you before they depart. Meanwhile, a young child, carried on a man's back, innocently thanks his uncle as they walk past a police officer, a fleeting glimpse of ordinary life. Wei Han's expression softens into a slight, determined smile, ready for the mission ahead. As Wei Han speeds down the road on his motorcycle, the narrator reveals the gravity of the situation. A series of disappearance cases have occurred recently, with over 30 people missing. Hang Xiang and Wu Shan are the first discovered survivors this time, found by the local police and sent to Arquan City. The narrator continues, explaining the challenge. Because they were concealed by painted skin, ordinary methods of detecting spiritual bodies failed to discover the problem immediately. This is our oversight. Inside the Quan City Police Station surveillance room, the female companion reports to the captain, "Captain, the local police and I spent all our efforts to gather surveillance footage, and we have already found Wu Shan." The captain turns, a grim expression on his face, and reveals the disturbing truth. It's just that he is already turned into an empty piece of human skin. On the surveillance screen, a chilling image appears. A lone figure, presumably Wu Shan, stands in a desolate hallway, a stark representation of his fate. The true horror is unveiled as the image shifts to a skeletal figure with glowing green eyes and a malevolent grin, shedding its human facade amidst an eerie green aura. The captain clarifies, the one wearing Wu Shan's skin is not a painted skin slave. Beneath a painted skin slave's human skin is merely a layer of soul. The female companion adds, this is a painted skin. After discarding Wu Shan's skin, it quickly disappeared. The female companion emphasizes the scale of the threat. Quan City has 5 municipal districts under its jurisdiction, with over 7 million permanent residents. A demon and ghost that can easily change its appearance and identity and spread fear everywhere has infiltrated this modern metropolis with such a massive flow of people. She concludes, the severity of the consequences far exceeds what was described in ancient legends. Her gaze sharpens as she continues her analysis, especially the glance it took at the surveillance camera. These monsters at least have some understanding of modern technological creations, therefore it must also be able to use modern transportation to move and flee quickly and strike ordinary people. A terrifying vision unfolds. In the most terrifying scenario, the entire Quan City could turn into a ghostly, empty city of human skin. The narrator highlights the modern danger. Unlike ancient times, an ancient city might only have tens of thousands of people, but now there are millions. Wei Han, absorbing the grim reality, declares, I understand, I will do my best to help with this matter. The female companion responds with a simple, thank you. Captain presents a tray of essential items, explaining, these are supplies from the Special Operations Group. He elaborates, among them, this earpiece can directly connect to the Operations Group's internal frequency. When you go out on missions, a special intelligence analysis team will support you remotely. He further details the support, including but not limited to citywide surveillance searches, target positioning, the intelligence gathering you need, and a certain degree of police support. He points to the items, clarifying, this is your temporary ID. It's temporary, but the authority level is slightly higher than the one previously prepared for you. Then, indicating a bottle, he adds, and this is medicine from Longhu Mountain. It has undergone nano-level specialized treatment and can quickly take effect on a cultivator. A holographic diagram illustrates the medicine's effect. The captain explains, the medicine inside the capsule is rich in spiritual energy. For 3 hours after taking it, your meridians will remain in a state of full spiritual energy. He continues, testing shows it can increase endurance and strength to a certain extent, between 20 to 30% depending on individual constitution. Wei Han holds the small bottle, a flicker of surprise crossing his face as he muses. The crouching tiger waist token doesn't provide this sort of thing. The captain then reveals a critical challenge. It's just that we don't know the characteristics of the painted skin. In past records, there are no demons capable of manifesting as painted skins, so there is no way to apply to the armory for targeted talismans. Wei Han questions, you can even apply based on special circumstances? Even for experts of the former Jinui. Wei Han's expression turns thoughtful as he recalls, right, you mentioned that those people went missing while climbing a mountain? The female companion confirms, yes, I checked the data. Originally, there was no such mountain at that location. It was as if it suddenly popped up. She continues, all the missing person cases are in some way related to this mountain. Zhao Yi and a group of police officers have already gone there. They brought a drone and should be sending photos back very soon. Suddenly, the female companion exclaims to the captain, Captain, Zhao Yi's side has sent the photos over. The drone footage reveals a bizarre and majestic mountain, bathed in golden light. The narrator describes it. The front isn't particularly high, but it's very steep. A mountain stretching continuously, looking like a fierce tiger crouching and roaring. It's truly very bizarre. The captain, analyzing the new data, states the soil analysis data from the mountain has also been sent back with it. He elaborates on the findings. After comparing the data, we found that when approaching and around the mountain, the spiritual energy concentration is somewhat higher than the surroundings. Within a radius of 70 li, the spiritual energy is higher than elsewhere. Wei Han remains silent, his expression deep in thought as he processes the implications of the spiritual energy readings. Later that night, Wei Han's aunt's voice is heard. It seems you won't have time to make your braised pork today. I'll treat you next time. Wei Han replies reassuringly, it's fine, no big deal. Female companion, now on her motorcycle, hands Wei Han a stack of files. These are the files regarding that mountain and the missing person cases. I'll take my leave first. As Wei Han stands alone, a chilling realization washes over him, his eyes widening in shock. Unbeknownst to him, a collection of grotesque figures lurks just behind the doorway, watching his every move. Wei Han, still reeling from the strange presence, reads about a bizarre mountain that mysteriously appeared near the Jiangnan circuit, finding the details truly bizarre. As he processes the information, Wei Han grips a golden, ornate tablet, which begins to pulse with intense, fiery energy, the ancient power stirring within his grasp. The tablet unleashes a brilliant golden scroll, unfurling itself in mid-air amidst the swirling flames, revealing ancient texts and images to Wei Han's astonished gaze. The luminous scroll reveals a cryptic message: monsters, unnatural forces, and chaotic spirits. God number 3, alongside an image of a formidable, light-infused mountain. Wei Han's eyes narrow as he reads further, piecing together the fragments. Temple of the Mountain Lord? He questions, a new layer of mystery unfolding. The tablet in Wei Han's hand flares with furious red energy, its tiger eyes glowing ominously as a command appears. Extinguish, Great Han Silly Colonel. Suddenly, the room's light fixture above Wei Han begins to spark and crackle violently, emitting ominous purple electricity, mirroring the escalating tension. Wei Han, now fully immersed in the surging energies, feels an intense presence. The golden and red aura around him intensifies, signaling a significant shift. The scroll shifts, revealing a gruesome history. The Mountain Lord was conferred during the second year of Emperor Wu's Genuan reign, when gods of mountains and rivers received enfeoffment and blood sacrifices. The grim depiction continues, showcasing a desolate landscape drenched in blood, with infernal red flames dancing across the horizon, a testament to ancient horrors. The scroll details the temple's dark descent. After its establishment, it became uncontrollable, consumed by an insatiable hunger for blood sacrifices. The narrative reveals how the terror was quelled. It was subdued when the Colonel Director of Retainers and the first Celestial Master Zhang Daoling attacked the mountain, ultimately destroying the corrupted temple. Wei Han's eyes widen in stark disbelief, a single word escaping his lips, "Who?" as the horrifying implications of the scroll's history sink in. As Wei Han processes the revelation, a ghastly, green glowing face materializes before him, its sinister grin sending a shiver down his spine. Reacting instantly, Wei Han snatches a glowing blue blade from the table, shattering the surrounding energy, preparing for an imminent confrontation. Wei Han stares down 3 shadowy, serpentine entities, their malevolent red eyes burning with dark intent as they emerge from the swirling blue energy. A massive, ethereal armored warrior manifests behind Wei Han, but he simply scoffs, declaring, "Heh, it's just a little ghost living in refinement, completely incomparable to the likes of Qin Yang." With a swift, decisive motion, Wei Han unleashes a powerful arc of brilliant blue energy from his blade, cleaving through the air and disrupting the dark forces. The shadowy humanoid figure recoils from Wei Han's strike, its form momentarily distorted by the impact, as bursts of red and purple energy erupt around it. With a confident smirk, Wei Han prepares a powerful technique, his hand forming a precise gesture as the words "Exorcise Ghost's Talisman" appear, signaling his next move. Wei Han extends his hand, activating the talisman, and a glowing blue ribbon of energy erupts, striking the shadowy figure and causing it to freeze in place. With the shadow figure subdued, Wei Han extends his hand, commanding it, "Come here." The stunned entity, now smaller and helpless, can only respond with a bewildered. Wei Han, having just exerted his power, calmly opens a soda can, the crisp sound of the tab breaking the silence. The shadowy entity, now reduced and subservient, hesitantly asks Wei Han why he summoned it. In response, it reveals its origin, explaining it was simply wandering nearby when it detected a deeply unsettling aura. The shadowy entity, its red eyes burning, further elaborates that the weak aura it sensed was an insult, compelling it to follow its instincts and seek out whatever possessed such a presence, intending to tear it apart. Shadow figure points directly at Wei Han's hip, declaring that the very source of the displeasing aura, the one that drew it in, is the ornate golden waist token he carries. Wei Han, now holding the golden waist token, murmurs in understanding. He realizes this must be the reason Qin Yang sought him out directly in the past. Wei Han's thoughts drift to ancient times, recalling the formidable power of the Crouching Tigers, who commanded vast resources and oversaw all matters of the capital. Yet he acknowledges that was a power of a bygone era. Wei Han, surrounded by faint green energy, muses on his current reality. He is merely a novice, the last surviving Colonel Director, still learning to wield exorcism spells. He understands that the Crouching Tiger waist token, lost for a millennium, has significantly weakened, its once deterrent aura now potentially attracting malevolent spirits. Wei Han sternly questions the shadowy entity, accusing it of having already harmed innocent people. The shadow figure, caught off guard, reacts with a startled exclamation. Wei Han, unwavering, declares that the shadowy entity cannot deceive him. It has already consumed yang energy, awakening its vicious nature and showing clear signs of transforming into a malicious ghost. With grim resolve, Wei Han proclaims he cannot allow it to live. With the black energy swirling before him, Wei Han reflects on the ancient enmity between demons and the colonel directors of retainers, his predecessors who hunted and imprisoned monsters. He understands that as the sole surviving director, he stands as a glaring target for all resentful demons, always ready to strike. Wei Han tightly grips the glowing golden waist token, resolving that since hiding is not an option, he must enhance his strength to confront the looming threats. Having vanquished the painted skin slave and dispelled other malevolent entities, accumulating 3 meritorious deeds, he realizes the opportune moment has arrived to unlock the Great Han Armory. A radiant system notification flashes, confirming the activation. Great Han Treasury opened. Wei Han stands alone on a tiled floor, looking upward as faint golden energy patterns spread across the ground around him, indicating the treasury's activation. Wei Han's feet are joined by another pair, surrounded by a brilliant golden aura, as if a new presence is manifesting on the ethereal tiled floor. Wei Han gazes down as a magnificent golden scroll unfurls before him, revealing the words, Celestial Master's Mansion, ranked first. Against a swirling cosmic backdrop, 2 magnificent swords manifest, a short, thick, tiger-like blade and a long, narrow, dragon-like one. Wei Han learns they are the legendary male and female dragon-tiger swords, once wielded by the 1st-generation Celestial Master and later by the 17th-generation Colonel Director of Retainers. Wei Han looks up, recalling Zhou Yi's words. The Celestial Master's Mansion is the undisputed leader of the Taoist sects in this era, serving as the absolute main force within the Special Operations Group. Wei Han continues his recollection, realizing that these male and female dragon tiger swords are ancient holy relics, having supported the Eastern Han dynasty and always guarded within the sacred Celestial Master Hall. The scene abruptly shifts to a dim, dilapidated stairwell leading to a closed door as a faint, distant voice calls out, Son. A man with blue hair, clad in a simple tank top, stares down at a peacefully sleeping child, his face etched with a look of profound worry and distress. The blue-haired man's face distorts into a grotesque, wide grin, his eyes glowing an eerie green as steam rises from him. He moans with an insatiable, terrifying hunger. Qi Nyang manifests in her ominous red traditional dress, her long black hair wild, and her face contorted into a monstrous grin with glowing red eyes. Dark energy swirls around her as she speaks. Did you know? Wei Han stands ready, facing the menacing, floating figure of Qi Nyang, who glares down at him, declaring that he has made her wait for an agonizingly long time. Wei Han unleashes a devastating roar, manifesting his powerful, fiery tiger aura that surges forward, engulfing Qi Nyang in its intense, destructive energy. Qi Nyang's monstrous form shatters into countless glowing fragments, signaling her defeat. Below, Wei Han sits hunched over, clutching his head, his skin tinged with an unnatural blue, clearly reeling from the immense exertion or a painful backlash. Reeling from the immense exertion or a painful backlash, Wei Han sits hunched over, clutching his head, his skin still tinged with an unnatural blue. He groans, realizing it's already 3 a.m., confused about how he even fell asleep, the aftereffects of his recent nightmare proving far too potent. Wei Han slowly pushes himself upright, his gaze fixed on his phone, while a dark, ominous stain spreads across the floor, hinting at a lingering, unseen residue from the night's events. A new email notification flashes on his screen, prompting Wei Han to wonder who would be sending him mail at such an ungodly hour. Email is an interview notice from a folklore museum, inviting him for an interview at noon the next day. Wei Han notes the generous offer of 8,000 a month, with food and lodging included, finding it quite favorable. The next day, Wei Han arrives at the Folklore Museum, a grand, traditional building. He calls out to the boss, remarking on how difficult the place was to find, with his GPS failing as he approached. Wei Han looks around, a confused expression on his face, wondering who exactly the boss might be. An elderly man with white hair, glasses, and a pipe sits calmly at a desk, seemingly the boss Wei Han was addressing. Wei Han apologizes to the museum owner, who then states there's something he needs to confirm before proceeding with the interview. The museum owner's face grows serious, an ominous aura surrounding his question as he directly asks Wei Han if he is afraid of ghosts. Wei Han dismisses the question with a wave of his hand, asserting that they are all materialists and questioning the existence of ghosts in this world. Wei Han, with his hands subtly behind his back, ponders the museum owner's twitchy demeanor, suspecting that there might indeed be something unclean about this place. A closer look reveals a highly ornate golden, crouching tiger waist tag clutched firmly in Wei Han's hand, a hidden safeguard. Museum owner observes Wei Han, internally hoping that the young man's abundant yang energy will be enough to protect him. With a resigned expression, the museum owner decides to drop the matter, reminding himself that Wei Han applied at 3 a.m. of his own volition. The museum owner gestures grandly, inviting Wei Han to follow him as he begins a tour of the work environment. They step into a long, dimly lit hallway adorned with traditional red lanterns and dark wooden structures, an unsettling chill permeating the air. Wei Han crosses his arms, a shiver running down his spine as he questions why the museum feels so chilly and eerie despite the warm weather outside. His gaze falls upon two traditional paper figures or dolls displayed behind red curtains, and he finds himself admitting that they look rather sinister. As they continue through the museum, Wei Han remarks on the sheer size of the place, taking in the numerous exhibits and expansive halls. Wei Han notices an open bottle of cola, now flat, and internally questions who would waste a drink by leaving it exposed like that. The museum owner's expression turns somber as he reveals that the museum and its contents were his son's life's work. Wei Han points further into the museum, inquiring if there's more space to explore and asking if he can take a look. The museum owner's face shows a clear flicker of hesitation, a silent struggle playing out in his expression. Wei Han, sensing the museum owner's reluctance, suggests he doesn't have to force himself. However, the museum owner quickly interjects, stating that the inner area is where Wei Han will be staying, and encourages him to go look while he waits outside. Wei Han's expression hardens with suspicion. He senses something is definitely off about this place. He acknowledges that a job appearing in the middle of the night couldn't be simple, and is glad he brought his crouching tiger waist tag. As Wei Han confidently strides forward, he resolves to inspect every corner of the museum thoroughly. He reminds himself the contract isn't signed yet, and if anything feels off or his tiger tag reacts, he'll make a swift exit. Wei Han walks deeper into the museum, leaving the museum owner behind. The owner sighs, lamenting that this is already the fourth person he's hired in half a month, wondering if fate intends for his museum to shut down. The museum owner's worry deepens as he recalls that it wasn't just the previous 3 hires who witnessed strange occurrences. He himself saw something last night. The dark tiled roof of the traditional museum stands under a gloomy sky, red lanterns casting a faint glow in the deepening twilight. The museum owner looks towards the eerie entrance, haunted by the memory of a door knocking inexplicably in the middle of the night. The museum owner's memory is punctuated by the grotesque sight of blood seeping out of the walls, a chilling reminder of the horrors within. He clutches his chest, recalling another terrifying encounter. A monstrous entity, a thing wrapped in a blanket, relentlessly pursuing him. This thing is Qin Yang in her spiritual form. Suddenly, Wei Han, shrouded in a blanket, bursts into the room, startling the museum owner into a panicked scream as Wei Han tries to explain his presence. The museum owner recoils in shock, demanding to know what Wei Han is doing, while Wei Han sheepishly apologizes, explaining he wrapped himself in the blanket because it was too cold. The museum owner adjusts his glasses, remarking on Wei Han's guts, then muses that perhaps young people possess a strong enough yang energy to be unafraid of unclean things. Presenting a contract, the museum owner outlines the terms. Simply keep the museum open, utilities covered, plus 800 a month for groceries, inviting Wei Han to negotiate if the pay isn't satisfactory. With a confident smile, Wei Han agrees to the terms, signing the contract. He internally confirms that his crouching tiger waist tag showed no reaction, implying the museum is safe. From an aerial view of the museum's tranquil courtyard, the museum owner states he will depart, to which Wei Han simply acknowledges. As the museum owner enters his car, he pauses, turning back to Wei Han standing in the archway, about to deliver a parting remark. The museum owner expresses a strange sentiment, telling Wei Han to inform him if he changes his mind, sighing that perhaps the museum should simply close down, leaving Wei Han to ponder his boss's peculiar nature. Wei Han gazes at his phone, lost in thought. He reflects on his crouching tiger waist tag, an ancient artifact that usually reacts to spiritual presences, noting its unsettling silence. A sudden, chilling cackle echoes as Wei Han looks up, confronting 3 terrifying apparitions. A hulking green monster, a wild-haired female spirit, Qin Yang in her transformed state, and an armored warrior. A flashback begins, showing Qin Yang, then known as the young lady of the Tian family, screaming in alarm as a lazy man from the Li family attempts to touch her, fiercely declaring herself an unmarried young lady. Qin Yang's frantic screams draw the attention of neighbors, who confirm her identity as the youngest daughter of the Tian family from a nearby town, her descriptions of her parents and hometown matching perfectly. The town's inquiry reveals that Qin Yang had fallen into a coma during a spring outing days earlier and had only just awakened on this very day. Officials gather to make a judgment, hoping Qin Yang would recognize her parents, but the newly awakened young lady of the Tian family shows no reaction to them. The twist of fate reveals that the other young lady of the Tian family, who had also just awakened, recognized these same parents and family members, creating a deeply unsettling paradox. Qin Yang, now perceived as a dark, plump woman, kneels and weeps before her parents, who cruelly reject her, forcefully stripping her clothes and deeming her unlucky and disgusting. An official, seizing the opportunity, rules that Qin Yang must return to the Li family and continue living her life with the man who had accosted her. Qin Yang's life becomes a daily torment of tears and abuse as the lazy man beats and curses her, forcing her into a marriage that eventually brings 2 daughters into the world. Brutal conflict escalates until, in a drunken rage, the lazy man strikes Qin Yang one final, fatal blow, killing her. Sobered by his horrific act, the lazy man dumps Qin Yang's body in the back mountain overnight, fabricating a story that she had simply run away. Convinced that Qin Yang's ugly and evil body would be devoured by wild wolves on the mountain, the matter is callously swept under the rug. Yet, against all odds, Qin Yang's spirit awakens, her skeletal form rising, a profound sadness etched into her posture. Meanwhile, the impostor, the other young lady of the Tian family, sails away on a grand boat under a rainy sky, living a life that was never hers. Qin Yang, now a skeleton with glowing red eyes, watches from the shore, horrified as she recognizes her stolen body, face, and skin on the departing boat. A mysterious man looks down at the skeletal Qin Yang, lamenting that an act of kindness had brought disaster, pondering if people in this world only value superficial beauty. Man introduces himself as Mr. Wang, a resident of the mountain, and then, with a chilling smile, he asks the skeletal Qin Yang a pivotal question. Do you want revenge? Back in the present, Wei Han observes Mr. Wang and the skeletal Qin Yang from a distance under the persistent rain, a strange sense of familiarity stirring within him regarding the man in white. Wei Han's eyes widen, a sudden realization hitting him as he thinks, wait, could he be? The scene shifts to an overhead view of ancient rooftops shrouded by heavy clouds, hinting at a somber atmosphere. A man in traditional attire prepares to depart, informing his wife, there are some matters at the government office. I need to make a trip there. The woman, an impostor who has stolen the identity of the young lady of the Tian family, seated at her vanity, bids him farewell, husband, do come back soon. Impostor gazes into her mirror, admiring her reflection and remarking, young lady of the Tian family, your skin is really nice. A sinister thought crosses her mind. Oh no, I am the young lady of the Tian family now. Ha ha ha. As the impostor smiles to herself, a chilling, shadowy figure with piercing red eyes, the true Qin Yang, looms silently in the doorway behind her. Her eyes snap open, wide with sudden, dawning horror. The true Qin Yang, now a terrifying skeletal figure cloaked in dark robes and wielding a menacing pair of scissors, lunges, her eyes glowing red. The skeletal Qin Yang strikes, its large scissors closing in on the screaming impostor, who recoils in terror. Impostor lies prone on the wooden floor, defeated, as the skeletal Qin Yang stands over her, still clutching its gruesome scissors. The skeletal Qin Yang, now a black skull with burning red eyes, holds its large scissors aloft, radiating an aura of pure malice. A woman in a purple robe, Qin Yang in disguise, stands by a window, responding to an unseen query. Madam, is there something in the room? She calmly replies, no, I'm just cutting out clothes. Qin Yang, slightly flustered, confirms to the unseen speaker, yes, it's an outfit I really like. In a chilling monologue, the shadowy Qin Yang by the window describes a horrific process. Cut open the human skin and run the silk threads. Pull out the intestines to make a red string. Eat your heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys. She continues. Dismantle your bones and slice open your belly. Take your human skin to make my clothes. The skeletal Qin Yang, wearing a grotesque human face as a mask, dons a cloak, revealing the full horror of her transformation. She whispers, wear my old clothes laid on the bed in my west chamber and then face the mirror and finally draw the eyebrows. Finally apply the hua huang. Another victim lies discarded in the background. The armored man explains, not long after, the genuine young lady of the Tian family reappeared, but she had lost all her flesh and blood, leaving only a spectral presence, as if she could vanish at any moment. Wei Han listens intently as the story continues. When her parents saw the genuine young lady of the Tian family in this state, she immediately started shedding tears, startling them so much that one supported her back and the other held her arm, offering comforting reassurances. As a hand pours tea, the armored man continues. By this point, she had only killed those who harmed her. What the Lee family did harmed others and themselves, a fate they brought upon themselves. He then reveals, I sensed and tracked her to this point. The genuine young lady of the Tion family kowtowed and begged for mercy, shedding tears, saying that she had never harmed innocent and loyal people, but had instead suffered harm from wicked people. All of this is true. Later generations, let me ask you. The armored man, holding a teacup, looks intently at Wei Han and challenges him. If it were you, would you behead her or not? A chilling red text summarizes the profound moral dilemma. The kind-hearted young lady of the Tion family was originally doing good deeds, but her body was swapped by the ugly woman, ultimately leading her to kill to reclaim her own skin. If it were you, would you behead her or not? Wei Han, deep in thought, considers the complex question, to behead or not to behead. There are justifiable reasons for both, as well as concerns that would prevent one from doing so. The armored man offers a knowing smile, observing Wei Han. It seems you are still a newcomer. It is completely normal to hesitate when facing this kind of situation. The armored man continues his story as tea is poured. I did not immediately behead her. He explains his reasoning. Her parents were in poor health at the time. They had no sons. Their eldest daughter had married far away, and she was the only one remaining by their side. The armored man recalls the scene. If she died, the two elders would have no one to support them, and they would likely suffer a lonely and bitterly cold old age. She begged me to give her time so that she could fulfill her filial piety before coming to accept her death. He continues, filial piety is the most important of all virtues. I was not even 20 at the time, merely a demon-hunting envoy under the Colonel Director of the Investigation Bureau, and momentarily soft-hearted, so I agreed to it. Handing a teacup to Wei Han, the armored man elaborates, I placed a seal on her. Afterwards, with her help, I also found the evidence of the lazy man of the Lee family's murder of his wife, bringing him to justice. He then recounts the passage of time. After that, there was an urgent summons from the capital, so I quickly rode to other places to track down hordes of demons, and just like that, more than 10 years passed. The armored man, his face resolute and surrounded by a faint green aura, declares, over 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. I suppressed demons everywhere, continuously accumulated experience, and was appointed as the Colonel Director of Retainers. Amidst terrifying demon figures, the armored man narrates the grim reality. It was during a period filled with military disasters everywhere, where government failed and lawlessness prevailed, and demons ran rampant. He admits, in the face of those terrifying and ferocious great Yao, the matter of a mere painted skin almost faded from my mind. The armored man recalls, only occasionally during the brief moments of respite after beheading demons and ghosts would I think of the beautiful lady who had knelt before me, tears streaming down her face, swearing an oath to the heavens. The armored man continues, I had also dispatched subordinate demon-hunting envoys to go and check. They reported back that the genuine young lady of the Tion family managed the household in good order, was excellent in character, and was exceptionally filial to her parents. He adds, in the past 2 years, as her parents began to fall ill, she personally brought them over to her own mansion, and also purchased hundreds of acres of fertile land, with the help of numerous demon-hunting envoys and disabled commoners. The armored man reveals, she even gave birth to a son for the Liu family. His eyes narrow in a sudden, sharp realization, but I suddenly realized something was wrong. The armored man's internal monologue reveals the chilling truth that daughter of the Tion family was already a bone woman painted skin. Her flesh and blood were entirely gone, leaving only a pile of bones. How could she possibly give birth to a son? The skeletal Qin Yang is seen at her vanity, her reflection a beautiful human, but her back a gruesome skeleton. Feeling a profound unease, the armored man recounts, I felt uneasy in my heart, even putting down the urgent tasks at hand to make a special trip back to the outskirts of that small town from back then. He is seen galloping furiously on horseback, racing towards answers. The armored man's gaze sweeps over the desolate landscape, the vibrant orchards and grand mansions of memory replaced by withered graves and rotten burials. He wonders where the former prosperity had vanished. Driven by urgency, the armored man recounts how he bypassed local officials, heading directly to the Liu family residence. Wielding his sword, he used the crouching tiger waist token to disperse the servants, pushing past their feeble attempts to stop him as he sought the madam and child in the backyard. He narrates, describing the moment he peered into the room, his eyes instantly widening in a furious rage at the sight within. The armored man observes Qin Yang, noting that despite over 10 years passing, her appearance remained unchanged, her skin as delicate as a young girl's. He watched in horror as she used pitch-black scissors to tear off a piece of slightly yellow, withered skin from her face. Qin Yang then moves towards the bed, where numerous folded items are stacked. What initially appeared to be clothes, when revealed, were the human skins of 16 or 17-year-old girls. She prepares to use her scissors to cut facial skin from one of them. The armored man's narration continues, revealing the presence of a 6 or 7-year-old boy also lying on the bed nearby Qin Yang as she manipulates the skins. The boy complains to Qin Yang, "Mother, we've grown up. The other students in the school are taller than me and they all laugh at me." Qin Yang calmly reassures him, all right, today I will dismantle your father's bones to add a section for you." The boy beams with delight, exclaiming, "Yay, yay, I can finally grow taller," revealing a chilling skeletal ribcage beneath his clothes. The boy informs Qin Yang, and also, "Mother, the county magistrate's liver is still fine, but the private tutor's heart placed here has already turned black and rotten." Qin Yang muses, a living person's heart, having been used for 6 months, it's about time it rotted." The boy then asks, "Then what should we do?" Qin Yang's sinister smile widens as she reassures the boy, "Don't be afraid, outside there is a high-ranking official from the capital. His heart and liver are even better." The armored man and the surrounding men react with visible shock and horror, their faces contorted in disbelief at the chilling revelation. The armored man's horrifying realization dawns. The more than 100 people who once inhabited this residence had all been transformed into human skins, their hollow forms now chillingly apparent. The armored man explains to Wei Han how, upon beheading and destroying the human skin, he found it utterly empty beneath. He elaborates on the nature of spiritual entities. A soul's spiritual nature becomes Jing, a non-dissipating soul becomes Gui, and an abominable object becomes Guai. He concludes that the true painted skin had long since vanished, likely sensing danger and fleeing beforehand. The armored man continues his exposition, defining the abnormalities of the world. Abnormalities are Yao and mutations are Guai. A soul's spiritual nature becomes Jing, an undissipated soul becomes Gui, and the mutation of a thing becomes Guai. The armored man sternly advises, "You who come after, remember this. If they are Jing or Gui, they can still be approached differently depending on the situation. But for the categories of Yao and Guai, all of us who are kernel directors of remnants must destroy them. Especially those who transform from a human body into Yao or Guai, you absolutely must not let them go." The armored man reiterates, "Abnormalities are Yao and mutations are Guai." He explains the monstrous transformation. To become a Yao or a Guai from a human means they have long been contrary to human nature. The delicacies in your mouth are like yellow mud and withered grass in theirs, while human flesh and blood are exceptionally sweet and delicious things to them. The armored man elaborates on the nature of these entities, explaining that any kind thoughts they display are merely the last vestiges of their humanity. He warns that these fleeting good intentions are like rootless wood or sourceless water, destined to vanish over time. The armored man grimly concludes, warning that the ferocious and hostile energy of these demonic entities will only intensify with each passing day. He states that while grievances might initially drive them to seek justice, those who succumb to such obsessions will degenerate into a corpse-like obsession. The armored man's face hardens with resolute determination, his gaze unwavering as he concludes his dire warnings. The armored man declares with fiery conviction, "They are not of our kind. They must be defeated without pardon." He raises his glowing sword, asserting that upon the 3-footed sword blade's opening, the clarity of the human souls will be restored, with no room for personal feelings. Wei Han, absorbing the armored man's words, states with concern, "Nowadays, such demonic entities act recklessly in the modern era where mysteries have already decayed. If left unchecked, it will inevitably be a catastrophe." Wei Han's eye widens dramatically, a sudden realization or shock gripping him. Wei Han, observing the surroundings, questions inwardly, "Wait, isn't this merely an illusion used by predecessors to retain images? Why does it suddenly make me feel as if this place is reality itself?" Wei Han's thoughts race, realizing, "If I was just a passerby and spectator a moment ago, with my surroundings like a picture scroll, then my feeling now is, I have also entered the painting." Qin Yang watches him with a subtle, knowing smile. A wave of dread washes over Wei Han as he thinks, "Oh no, I feel like these painted skins in the illusion can actually see me." The eerie figures stare directly at him, confirming his chilling suspicion. Wei Han stands isolated, confronting Qin Yang and the boy, as a terrifying chorus of roar, roar, roar erupts from the multitude of dark figures behind him. A monstrous, green-skinned entity with glowing red eyes looms menacingly over Wei Han's shoulder, its clawed hand reaching for him as a chilling hiss, hiss, hiss sound emanates. The monstrous hand clamps down on Wei Han's shoulder, dark energy swirling around its grip, accompanied by a sharp hiss. Wei Han turns with a questioning as a brilliant golden aura erupts from his hand, emanating from a glowing, ornate relic he now holds. Green-skinned monster recoils in agony, hissing, "Hiss no good, hot, 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 so hot." This guy's yang energy is Wei too, as red energy burns fiercely on its chest, repelled by Wei Han's power. The green-skinned monster continues to recoil in agony as Wei Han, holding the powerful artifact, delivers another potent blow directly to its chest, unleashing a burst of raw energy. Wei Han declares, "There's something dirty here. Take this," as his fist connects, sending a powerful wave of energy through the monstrous form. A triumphant Wei Han grins, clutching the glowing artifact. "It worked. I actually hit it." He muses, "So this is what it feels like to punch a ghost? It's like hitting a giant ball of cotton. Not gonna lie, it's pretty good for stress relief. It's actually kind of addictive." Wei Han stands on the wet, tiled floor, observing the monster's retreating, ethereal footprints and calls out, "Hey, trying to run?" Wei Han gives chase, his determination clear as he shouts, "Not so fast," while the green monster attempts to flee across the damp courtyard. The green-skinned monster collapses onto the ground, looking distressed, and warns Wei Han, "Wait, kid, don't get too arrogant. This is my turf. My ghost brothers and sisters won't let you get away with this." Wei Han looks down at the incapacitated monster. In the background, an unknown male spirit and Qin Yang sit casually at a table. The unknown male spirit remarks, "Wonderful, wonderful. Drinking this is like drinking fine wine and sweet nectar. I have never tasted such a thing in the past." Qin Yang replies with a smirk, "Hee, of course, this is cola. They didn't have this back in your era." Wei Han unleashes another powerful strike, surrounded by swirling yellow energy, further overwhelming the green-skinned monster. The green-skinned monster is heavily damaged, its form cracking and glowing from the impact as it cries out in desperation, "A holy crap, you damn bastards, save me. I think I can still be saved. Eh." The unknown male spirit advises Qin Yang, "Stop messing around. We can only barely manifest our forms in the middle of the night when the yin energy is heavy. That little brother here's yang energy is way too strong. We can't do anything to him right now." Qin Yang agrees, right. Let's just drink our drinks. Drink the cola. Drink the cola." Wei Han stands over the table, his eyes glowing red with a sinister light, holding his artifact as he declares, "Oh, there are more dirty things over here." The green-skinned monster cries out, "Young man, do not be too arrogant. It hurts, hurts, hurts. Eh." While Qin Yang pleads, "Little brother, stop. This big sister has a weak body. I can't handle this kind of torment," as impact effects surround the cola bottles. The green-skinned monster wails, "Oh my god, this is the first time I've seen someone who can physically punch ghosts. Could he be a ghost-exorcising Taoist priest or something?" Sob. Qin Yang laments, "Boo-hoo, is this young man even human? He won't even spare an old lady like me." The unknown male spirit scolds, "Enough, stop crying. If we're talking about age, none of you are as old as hiss, it hurts," as Wei Han observes their suffering from his chair. A system notification appears. "Wandering spirits. Haven't consumed blood food, harbor no resentment, have committed no evil karma. Harmless yields no beads." Wei Han, sitting thoughtfully, ponders, "But right now, relying on this waste tag, I can only faintly see the outlines of ghosts. If I encounter a truly terrifying malicious spirit, what should I do?" Wei Han, now seeing the three spirits as faint, translucent figures, realizes no wonder these guys were so easy to deal with. Turns out they're just non-threatening, harmless wandering spirits. System message appears, detailing the path of a demon suppression officer. Moreover, subordinates of the demon suppression officer can slay demons and execute ghosts. With accumulated merits, they may enter the Great Han Treasury to obtain evil-slaying divine weapons. The demon suppression officer has yet to slay any demons or ghosts, nor apprehend any rebels. Having 0 merit, the treasury cannot be opened. Wei Han's eyes widen in surprise as he exclaims, "Treasury? This waste tag even comes with evil-slaying divine weapons." A system message reveals, however, there are alternative unorthodox methods. You need not follow the orthodox path to. Wei Han muses, "Oh, this waste tag really is quite smart. There are actually 5 whole methods that can let me directly see ghosts and spiritual bodies." The first method is described. First method, cut a bundle of yellow grass from a private grave, feed it to a yellow ox. Wait until the yin energy is heaviest the next day, and extract the ox's tears. Wei Han immediately dismisses it. "What, I have to kill a yellow ox? Too expensive. Pass. Next." Second method is presented against a moonlit sky. Second method, use a dead crow to seek the yin. During the hours of Z, Cho, or yin, midnight to 5 a.m., chop off the head of a green-eyed crow from a dead tree, gouge out its eyeballs while fresh, and swallow them to perceive life, death, yin, and yang. Chibi Wei Han recoils in utter disgust, seeing a crow perched above a bowl containing an eyeball, exclaiming, "No way, that's too disgusting." As the third method is introduced, Chibi Wei Han screams in fear, scary, pass. The fourth method is mentioned, and Chibi Wei Han looks exasperated, groaning, too dangerous, pass. Isn't there a single reliable method? The fifth method is detailed, wiping the eyes with willow leaves. Striking a ghost with a willow branch shrinks it by 3 inches. Wiping the eyes with willow leaves can temporarily activate the yin-yang eye technique. Mortal eyes must soak a yin object in morning dew, place the willow leaves inside, and wait until the hour of Z midnight when yin energy is thick. Wiping the eyes with leaves dipped in this water allows one to see yin for the duration of a cup of tea. To open the eyes again, they must be wiped anew. Chibi Wei Han's face lights up. This is good. This is the one. Wei Han stands, looking thoughtful, with the bowl of willow leaves on a table, reflecting, speaking of which, my luck is really terrible, somehow ending up living in a place with ghosts. Wei Han continues his thoughts, although I haven't encountered any dangerous malicious spirits yet. Yeah, I'll try opening my eyes first. At least it'll be more convenient if I need to run away. Wei Han grins mischievously, looking towards the distressed spirits. So, now everything is ready. All I'm missing is a yin object. The 2 small, doll-like spirits stand silently, observing the bowl with the willow leaf, as Wei Han considers his next move. Wei Han reassures the doll-like spirits with a smile, gently touching one of them. Don't worry, I'm not crazy enough to soak you 2 in it. Wei Han then suggests, bending over the table towards the doll-like spirits and the bowl, let's use yours instead. The doll-like spirits, including Qin Yang, recoil in shock, their eyes wide and mouths agape, as Wei Han's unexpected proposal hangs in the air. Wei Han looks on, a bead of sweat tracing his temple, a flicker of apprehension crossing his face as he processes the situation. Wei Han scoffs, gesturing towards the crude fishing net and a bottle of pesticide on the table, wondering aloud if these truly are the yin objects meant for these 2 spirits. He declares them unusable, one being foul and the other poisonous. Wei Han turns, holding up a small, sharp dagger, and asks the armored spirit if this weapon belongs to him, eliciting a surprised reaction. Resigned, Wei Han decides to use the dagger, acknowledging his lack of other options, and mentally notes that he must now simply wait for midnight to proceed. With a deliberate motion, Wei Han places the dagger into a bowl of water, a single leaf floating beside it, as the 2 doll-like spirits silently observe the preparation. Wei Han instructs the 3 spirits to remain at the location and behave while he heads home to retrieve some necessary items, sternly warning them against causing any trouble. The warm glow of the setting sun bathes the towering modern city buildings as Wei Han makes his way through the urban landscape. Wei Han observes a somber scene where an elderly woman, Wei Han's aunt, kneels in grief, lamenting the loss of her child, Yuanyu, her cries echoing with profound sorrow. Curious, Wei Han approaches a nearby man in a suit, pointing towards the grieving family and asking what had transpired, to which the man responds with a surprised "You don't know." The man explains the tragic story, revealing that the daughter was murdered just as she was on the cusp of a good life, expressing disbelief at such a heartless act. Wei Han listens, a stark appearing on his cheek. Red embroidered shoe hovers ominously in Wei Han's thoughts as he grapples with a chilling realization, quickly dismissing it as irrelevant to him. He resolves to focus on his own mission, hurrying to gather his belongings and return to the museum. Wei Han, now back at the traditional building, exclaims with a relieved grin that everything is finally ready for the ritual. The 3 spirits appear bewildered. The armored spirit inquires if their boss is all right, while Qin Yang, seated calmly, asks Wei Han what exactly he is doing. Bathed in a golden aura, Wei Han beams triumphantly, a green leaf adorning his forehead, exclaiming that the ritual worked and he can now literally perceive ghosts. The green spirit wonders aloud if Wei Han can't hear them, a thought the armored spirit confirms, noting Wei Han hasn't responded to a single word they've said. Qin Yang, however, interjects that he can still hit them, and quite hard, as she still feels the pain. The armored spirit speculates that perhaps Wei Han simply chooses not to speak with them, but Wei Han, with a knowing smile, interrupts to explain that he truly couldn't hear them before. Thanks to the yin energy infused in the willow leaf water, he can now understand their words. The green spirit, turning its gaze to Qin Yang, points out that Wei Han just left and returned. The girl he brought back with him also isn't speaking, implying she too cannot hear them. Wei Han looks surprised. Qin Yang stands tall, her long black hair flowing wildly around her as her eyes glow with an ominous red light, radiating a powerful, menacing aura. Wei Han's eyes widen in utter shock, a profound realization dawning on him as he witnesses the sudden change. Wei Han stares in horror at Qin Yang's transformed back, the long, dark hair a terrifying shroud. He mentally connects her to the red embroidered shoes and the vengeful spirit he heard about, realizing his worst fears are coming true. The green spirit, with an unsettlingly wide grin, leans towards Qin Yang, casually asking the new girl where exactly she died, seemingly oblivious to the menacing aura she now exudes. Wei Han charges forward with a determined expression, shouting for Qin Yang to give them back as her long, dark hair lashes out like shadowy tentacles towards the green spirit. The green spirit's eye widens in sheer terror, its red pupil shrinking to a pinprick as it faces the imminent threat. The green spirit screams in agony as multiple strands of Qin Yang's dark hair pierce its body, while Qin Yang stands below, observing the brutal assault. The green spirit groans, its face contorted in pain as Qin Yang's hair continues its relentless assault, managing to utter a weak complaint about her dirty play. The green spirit struggles, completely ensnared and impaled by Qin Yang's dark hair, its pained grunts and gasps echoing through the air as it's overwhelmed. Qin Yang stands with arms outstretched, a chilling display of power, as her dark, flowing hair effortlessly lifts the impaled green spirit off the ground, holding it captive. Wei Han watches in horror, a cold dread washing over him as he realizes that the brainless water ghost is, in fact, the vengeful spirit connected to the red embroidered shoes, now unleashing its fury. The fierce determination etched on his face, Wei Han stares at the ritual bowl, resolving that he must stop Qin Yang immediately. If she truly is the vengeful spirit, he knows he has no choice but to risk everything. The air crackles with malevolent energy as Qin Yang's monstrous form fully manifests, her dark tendrils swirling ominously, while a smaller, helpless figure is ensnared above her. Wei Han, unwavering, prepares for the ultimate confrontation. Wei Han stands firm, gazing upwards at Qin Yang's floating, humanoid form, which is now enveloped by the same dark, swirling essence, preparing for her next move. Wei Han activates the ritual bowl, golden energy swirling around it as he internally urges, "I'm counting on you. You'd better not fail me when it matters most," summoning its latent power. The artifact unleashes a powerful, roaring golden tiger, its eyes burning with fierce energy as it charges forward, ready to strike. The golden tiger's fiery energy surges upwards, clashing violently with Qin Yang's dark, swirling tendrils, pushing them back with immense force. A massive explosion of golden fire erupts, engulfing Qin Yang as the full force of Wei Han's attack detonates around her, leaving a trail of destruction. Seizing the moment, Wei Han lunges, delivering a powerful flying kick directly into the grotesque green-skinned entity, severing its connection to the dark tendrils. The green-skinned entity, holding a skeletal figure and a dark-haired figure, urges them to escape, declaring, "Now." While she's distracted, the dark-haired figure cries out, "Let's bolt." Wei Han clutches his chest, realizing his life force is rapidly draining with each use of the crouching tiger waist tag. He internally wonders how Qin Yang's power could be so much greater in reality compared to his dreamscape. Wei Han, realizing he is now Qin Yang's sole target, internally laments his dwindling power, unsure how many more times he can utilize the waist tag. His frustration boils over as he declares, "But you know what? This is really pissing me off." Wei Han shouts, demanding reason from Qin Yang, questioning why she is so fixated on him when they have no prior grievance. He chastises her, reminding her of basic human decency taught by parents, even if she is now a ghost. Qin Yang's dark tendrils writhe and surge, her silent fury manifesting as oppressive shadows against the blood-red backdrop, a clear refusal to his pleas. Wei Han's eyes widen in shock, realizing his words have no effect as Qin Yang's dark power continues to press down on him. Facing Qin Yang's monstrous form, Wei Han defiantly declares his resolve, "Since you refuse to back down, then I'll just have to fight you to the bitter end." Wei Han holds the ritual bowl aloft, a colossal golden tiger spirit manifesting behind him as he vows, "Even if it drains every last drop of my energy, I'm going to rip you apart." Suddenly, a blinding bolt of blue lightning descends from the heavens, striking with immense power, marked by ominous red characters. The powerful lightning bolt directly impacts a vibrant red lantern hanging from a traditional building, causing a sharp jolt of energy and a cascade of sparks. Wei Han looks up, startled, as the brilliant blue lightning crackles downwards, narrowly missing him and illuminating his shocked expression. The lightning bolt slams into the ground, unleashing a blinding flash of energy that reverberates through the area, leaving a lingering aura. Sweat beads on Wei Han's brow as he stares, wide-eyed and exhausted, at the aftermath of the thunderous strike, his body trembling. Wei Han turns, staring in disbelief at the dissipating dark smoke where Qin Yang's monstrous form had been. He questions aloud, "She left? She just left? Just like that?" The dark-haired figure expresses disbelief, wondering, did this kid actually just talk that vengeful spirit into running away? The green-skinned entity scoffs, explaining, "Ugh, what do you know? The boss has profound spiritual power. Have you never heard of his words manifesting as divine law?" The skeletal figure slaps the green-skinned entity, correcting his misconception. He explains that the vengeful spirit was clearly frightened away by the recent clap of thunder, citing an ancient saying about life stirring under thunder. Wei Han's eyes are heavy-lidded as he internally acknowledges his profound exhaustion, feeling as though his entire body has been hollowed out. Completely drained of energy, Wei Han collapses against a wall, barely able to stand as residual sparks of power flicker around him. Wei Han lies in bed, his eyes open but still heavy with fatigue, slowly recovering from the intense battle. The dark-haired figure, the skeletal figure, and the green-skinned entity gather around Wei Han's bed, expressing immense relief that he is awake. The green-skinned entity exclaims, "Boss, you're awake. You scared the life out of me. If it weren't for you, I'd be a goner. If anything happened to you, I'd feel guilty for the rest of my afterlife." Little 15 leans over Wei Han, asking if he's finally alright. Wei Han, still recovering, reassures him that he'll make a full recovery soon, telling his subordinate not to worry. Powerful, lion-headed talisman, clutched in Wei Han's hand, radiates with an intense golden aura, its eyes glowing fiercely. A system notification appears, detailing Wei Han's success. He has repelled an evil manifestation and prevented a wandering spirit from becoming vengeful, earning him 1 point of merit. This merit has been converted into an essential mystical art for a demon suppression officer. Wei Han sits up in bed, his gaze fixed on his outstretched hand, a thoughtful expression on his face as he processes the recent events. Wei Han realizes he has mastered the Demon Banishment Talisman, an essential mystical art for a demon suppression officer. He understands its dual function. Not only can it banish wandering spirits, but it also grants him the ability to harness powers from spiritual entities. Wei Han muses that normally, controlling spirits would require finding their own objects for subjugation. But within the museum, with 5 spirits already present, he sees an opportunity to gain their strength, boosting his confidence for future encounters with vengeful spirits. Lost in thought, Wei Han ponders the implications of his new abilities and the spirits around him. A sudden realization hits Wei Han. The spirits who were just here have vanished without a trace. Wei Han's eyes widen in surprise, a puzzled escaping his lips as he registers their absence. Looking down, Wei Han sees his shoes pointing directly at his bed. He recalls the ominous superstition: if shoes point to the bed, a ghost will climb into the bed. He realizes the vengeful spirit is relentlessly pursuing him. Little 15 recounts his past, explaining how he died while night fishing, falling asleep and tumbling into the water. Qin Yang then shares her own tragic demise, a landscape painter who mistakenly consumed pesticide. Wei Han throws his hand to his head in utter disbelief, questioning how they could have died so carelessly. Qin Yang, in her terrifying monstrous form, declares that their former skills of fishing and painting are utterly useless in the face of demons and monsters. Wei Han turns to the armored man, asking about his past. The armored man sighs, admitting he can't recall his name or much of his history. The armored man, despite his memory loss, vividly recalls serving under Commander Chi and battling Woka pirates before mysteriously falling asleep and awakening in the modern era. Wei Han's eyes widen in shock, a bolt of realization striking him as he exclaims, "Chi army?" Wei Han, still reeling, thinks about the armored man's age, astonished that a several hundred-year-old ghost hadn't ascended to the status of a ghost king or general, unlike the legends. Wei Han asks the armored man if he possesses swordsmanship skills. The armored man humbly replies that he knows a little of everything, from broadswords to matchlocks, but only the basic army martial arts, far from the prowess of a general. A confident smile plays on Wei Han's lips. He has found a reliable subject for his exorcise ghost's magical ability. Wei Han respectfully requests the armored man's cooperation for a task. The armored man humbly pledges his 7-foot body entirely to Wei Han's disposal. Wei Han thanks him for his loyalty. Wei Han initiates a powerful ritual, his hands enveloped in golden light as ancient incantations echo, wearing the canopy on the head, stepping on the kuegong, left hand holding the 6 nei, right hand guarded by the 6 ding, Mount Hua rock split, wearing the seal, what god would not yield, what ghost would dare resist. With a decisive chi, Wei Han presses his hand against the armored man's forehead, a surge of energy radiating outwards. The ritual is a success. Wei Han feels an indescribable sensation as the spirit of the Qi army soldier lodges itself within his right hand, now completely under his control. A confident smirk plays on Wei Han's lips as the green spiritual energy swirls around his arm, a testament to his newfound control. The armored man's spectral form asks Wei Han for his next command. Wei Han replies with a smirk, stating it would be impolite not to return a favor, especially since the other party has already come to his door. Little 15 exclaims in awe at Wei Han's domineering presence, recognizing that his boss is preparing to crusade against a malicious ghost, declaring him truly mighty. Qin Yang, impressed, notes that the young man has guts to take the initiative against such a powerful entity. With a determined grin and clenched fists, Wei Han declares his intention to report to the police. Little 15 stutters in confusion, finding Wei Han's plan a bit much. Qin Yang, equally perplexed, asks if he's lost his mind, suggesting calling the police to catch a ghost is utterly absurd. Wei Han observes the pair of red embroidered shoes on the floor, deducing that if his guess is correct, the shoes from the previous victim should now be gone. Wei Han walks towards a massive, ancient tree in a moonlit courtyard, realizing this place from his dream truly exists. He concludes that according to supernatural lore, such a location is perfect for subduing a female ghost. Following the previous beat, Wei Han, now kneeling, carefully examines the delicate red embroidered shoes he found. He muses that perhaps these shoes could be the key to convincing the police to help him locate the mysterious place from his dreams. "Hello, I want to report a case." Wei Han's voice echoes as he steps into the police station, ready to explain his supernatural predicament. An officer asks Wei Han why he wishes to report, to which Wei Han calmly replies, "A ghost is trying to kill me." The standing officer, overhearing the bizarre claim, repeats in an astonished tone, "Oh, a ghost is trying to kill." The officer's face contorts in utter shock, his pen frozen above the paper as he exclaims, "Huh?" Wei Han sighs internally, realizing the uphill battle he faces. As expected, he thinks, reporting a case for this kind of thing, it really isn't that easy to gain the trust of the police. Suddenly, a stern female companion steps forward, instructing the bewildered officer, "Go busy yourself with other things first. Leave this matter to me to handle." The officer snaps to attention, saluting briskly as he responds, "Yes." The female companion turns to Wei Han, gesturing for him to follow. "You come with me," she states. A surprised Wei Han can only manage a hesitant, "Oh, okay." A hand deftly lights a cigarette, the flame briefly illuminating the tip. Seated across from Wei Han, the female companion introduces herself with authority, stating she is from the Special Operations Group, Zhou. Taking a drag from her cigarette, the female companion looks at Wei Han and asks, "Right, you don't mind the smell of cigarette smoke, do you?" Wei Han assures her it's fine. The female companion then shifts to the core of the matter. You said you encountered a ghost?" Internally, Wei Han observes her unusual attire and earpiece, wondering, Special Operations Group earpiece, this woman doesn't even have a standard uniform. A professional sent from above? The female companion listens intently as Wei Han elaborates. "Yes, at first it was a dream of a small building, and then a courtyard house with a locust tree. That female ghost was just sitting by the stone well, looking at me." The female companion reviews Wei Han's files, her thoughts clear. Judging from his files, there haven't been any recent opportunities for him to come into contact with ghostly entities. Looking at his travel history, he hasn't been to any dangerous areas either. It can basically be deduced that he is not being entangled by an evil ghost. Her analysis continues, considering a crucial detail, but since he previously lived near the Fuchin residential quarters, there is indeed a possibility that he became entangled with Yin energy. The female companion concludes her internal assessment. It is very likely due to this reason, combined with the news of the murder, that he had such a realistic nightmare. Of course, the possibility that he is truly being entangled by an evil ghost cannot be completely ruled out. But generally speaking, after encountering an evil ghost, a person's mental state would be extremely sensitive and depressed. The female companion observes Wei Han, noting, yet he is. Her intense gaze makes Wei Han squirm internally, thinking, why has this woman been staring straight at me like this? It's as if she wants to strip me naked and see right through me. Standing up, the female companion presses Wei Han for more information. "Aside from your dream, are there any other signs?" Perching herself on the edge of the desk, the female companion muses. If not, perhaps some other methods are needed for screening. Wei Han holds out a box. The female companion's curiosity is piqued. This is?" she asks. Wei Han watches her expectantly, his thoughts a mix of hope and dark humor. "I just hope she really is a professional sent from above, otherwise, after she sees this, I reckon the one having nightmares tonight won't be me, but her." Her eyes widen in sudden shock, a clear exclamation of surprise escaping her. Her gaze drops to the ominous red embroidered shoes resting in the box, her expression a mix of surprise and dawning realization. At a grim, designated investigation site surrounded by talismans and a shrouded body, the female companion reports, "Captain, we have arrived at the designated location for investigation." Wait, the red embroidered shoes on the deceased's feet are gone. Shocked, she questions, "How is that possible? The talismans we laid down were meant to suppress it. This is definitely not something any ordinary evil ghost could do." Her voice tightens. "A malicious ghost. It is at least at the malicious ghost level. Maybe even higher." Back at the police station, a voice announces their return. "Captain, we're back." Two new individuals introduce themselves. One states, "Hello, I am Zhao Yi, a disciple of the Weiming sect." The other adds, "Weiming sect, Taoist name Xian Yi." Wei Han simply offers a silent, thoughtful response. The female companion clarifies, "They are both my team members, the ones who reported the situation to me earlier through the Bluetooth earpiece." Wei Han nods in understanding. "Oh, I see." One of the new team members addresses Wei Han. "The captain has already given us a rough outline of your situation. Could you describe that courtyard in your dream in more detail?" The team member holds a clipboard and pen, poised to record Wei Han's detailed description. Wei Han, ever prepared, presents a drawing to the surprised team member. "There's no need for that much trouble," he states. "I have already prepared it in advance." The team member, clutching the drawing, stares in utter disbelief, his mouth agape. "This?" he exclaims, completely taken aback by Wei Han's unexpected preparation. As the man in the yellow jacket fixates on the drawing, a blonde man behind him questions, "What's wrong? Why are you so surprised?" The female companion then adds, "Is there some major discovery?" Tears stream down the man's face as he declares, "His painting skills are actually this incredible, even better than mine." The blonde man and female companion can only stare in stunned silence. Wei Han, with a subtle smirk, remarks, "That's only natural," as the others continue to marvel at his unexpected talent. System reveals the drawing's true origin. It was crafted by Qin Yang, the Wandering Sister, under Wei Han's control via his painting of the Wandering Sister skill. As the system confirms, she's a master landscape painter, after all. Wei Han clears his throat, then asks, "By the way, you all care so much about the scene I saw in my dream because that place should be helpful in subduing the malicious ghost, right?" The female companion, with an impressed look, gently cups Wei Han's chin, remarking, "You're quite smart." The female companion confirms, "That's right. The basic principle of a malicious ghost is its empowerment caused by intense negative emotions resonating with certain spiritual energies of heaven and earth." Wei Han sits quietly as the female companion stands behind him, casually lighting a cigarette, the smoke curling upwards. Leaning closer to Wei Han, the female companion explains, "And because this happens when the negative emotions are at their strongest, aligning with the corresponding external aspects of heaven and earth, these negative emotions will continue to intensify, making it extremely vicious." As the female companion exhales a plume of smoke, a visual breakdown appears, differentiating between malicious ghosts, evil ghosts, and resentful ghosts. The narration clarifies, unlike ordinary wandering spirits, as well as resentful ghosts and evil ghosts, malicious ghosts generally possess profound cultivation and have had unusual encounters. Engaging them head-on is definitely not a wise move. The female companion reveals their strategy. By finding the source of the malicious ghost's negative emotions, there's a chance to tame it, and then take the opportunity to subdue and destroy it. She finishes with a decisive gesture. The man in the yellow jacket excitedly reports, "Found it, Captain. It's a theater in the former Jiangnan circuit, a place for singing Chinese opera. It seems to have produced a few famous performers. Something happened there in the past, so it was sealed off." Standing decisively, the female companion declares, "Let's go to Jiangnan." The man in the yellow jacket eagerly confirms, "Yes." The female companion places a hand on Wei Han's shoulder, instructing him, "As for you, you can go back and rest. The upcoming matters belong to a world that ordinary people like you shouldn't be involved in." Internally, the female companion considers, "At least not yet. I don't know why, but I always feel like this kid is hiding some kind of secret." Wei Han, looking hesitant, begins to protest, actually I... The man in the yellow jacket hands Wei Han a talisman, advising him, "Take this, protect yourself well." Wei Han, receiving it, thinks, "Although I don't know." The man in the yellow jacket turns to the female companion and questions, "But I remember you reporting earlier, aren't these talismans of yours unable to suppress that malicious ghost?" Wei Han remains silent, contemplating. Annoyed, the man in the yellow jacket shoves two talismans at Wei Han, declaring, "Then take two." He grumbles internally, First your painting skills are better than mine, and now you're roasting my talismans. Don't I need to save face?" Blonde man, in a rush, hands Wei Han a non-disclosure agreement. "Sorry, we're in a hurry. Sign this non-disclosure agreement, hand it to the other officers later, and then you can leave on your own." Wei Han responds with a simple, "Oh, okay." As Wei Han holds the documents, the man in the yellow jacket dashes through the doorway, calling out, "Wait for me." The doorway Wei Han was about to exit is now obscured by swirling, ominous green mist. Wei Han, startled, runs headlong into the thick green mist, a question mark of confusion and alarm appearing above him. Pushing through the dense fog, Wei Han's alarm grows. Oh no, could it be? He wonders, a sense of dread washing over him. Wei Han finds himself walking amidst an endless procession of shadowy figures, standing motionless within the eerie green mist. Wei Han looks around in shock, realizing, I was actually dragged into this confusing dream again. But why are there so many more people this time? Wei Han sharply turns his head, his eyes widening in surprise as a voice echoes, "You came again." Wei Han recoils in terror as the shadowy entity looms over him, its oppressive aura marked by 3 ominous, forbidden symbols. His mind races, desperately searching for the waste token. The monstrous form of Qin Yang snarls, her red eyes burning with malevolence, her sharp teeth and long tongue a horrifying sight. She declares chillingly, "Since you're here." With brutal force, Qin Yang's monstrous arm, wielding a ceremonial weapon, plunges into Wei Han's chest. He cries out in agony as the impact sends him reeling. Wei Han screams in pure anguish as his surroundings shatter into countless sharp fragments, a visual representation of the dreamscape's violent distortion. Disoriented and shaken, Wei Han stands amidst the dissipating fragments, steam rising from his body as he struggles to comprehend the attack's lingering effects. Wei Han gazes down, 2 burning talismans floating before him. He wonders if these ancient artifacts were what truly saved him from the devastating blow. Sweat beads on Wei Han's brow, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and dawning realization, the red-orange backdrop intensifying the moment's gravity. Wei Han inspects his torn shirt, a clear sign of the attack's physical toll. He muses that the malicious ghost was truly terrifying, its power directly affecting reality even through the dreamscape. A spectral general hovers beside Wei Han, inquiring about his well-being. Wei Han, though weary, responds that he is fine but can no longer afford to passively await death. With a fierce glint in his eye, one of which glows with raw power, Wei Han declares his intention to change clothes and immediately set off for Jiangnan. Serene, vibrant hues of a sunset paint the sky, signaling the passage of time and a journey underway. Days later, in a dilapidated courtyard in Jiangnan, an old man sits beneath a massive tree, remarking that it is the 18th day of the first lunar month, an auspicious time for the door gum to be lifted. The old man, holding a teacup, murmurs to himself about lifting a red trousseau, 1 foot, 1 regret, hastily tailored, his words steeped in nostalgia. Suddenly, the old man's eyes widen, and he lets out a questioning sound, sensing an unexpected presence. From the shadowy entrance, a voice politely inquires, asking if the old man is indeed old Mr. Jiang. Wei Han stands confidently in the courtyard entrance, his large zither case slung over his shoulder, introducing himself and stating he has something important to inquire about from the old man. The old man, looking over his shoulder, expresses surprise, noting that it has been a long time since anyone visited his humble abode, calling it a rare occurrence. Wei Han approaches the seated old man, playfully remarking that he must be joking, wondering if truly no one has visited him before. Wei Han listens intently as the old man reveals a somber truth. All the people he knew have passed away, and their descendants have gradually stopped coming to visit. Wei Han's expression shifts to one of surprise and concern as he processes the old man's melancholic words. The old man studies Wei Han, his thoughts on a particular mole, while Wei Han, in turn, wonders if this venerable elder could be the one he seeks. The old man asks Wei Han about the object he carries on his back. Wei Han, with a smile, explains it's a tool for traditional music as he's out collecting folk material. The old man nods in understanding as Wei Han internally confesses the truth. He found an 8-sided Han sword for self-defense and had to ingeniously hide it within the zither to bypass travel restrictions. The elegant 8-sided Han sword gleams brightly, perfectly concealed within the zither case, its presence a stark contrast to Wei Han's musical facade. The old man casually mentions that a few young people had come by yesterday, but they merely turned around and left without entering the courtyard. Wei Han's eyes widen in surprise. He realizes that Zhou Yi and his companions, who departed before him, have already located this place, confirming he is indeed in the right spot. Wei Han ponders why Zhou Yi and the others, having found the location, chose not to enter the house, observing the 3 figures from an earlier time standing outside the door. Wei Han's brow furrows in deep thought, his expression a mix of confusion and determination as he tries to piece together the anomaly. An overhead view reveals the courtyard's hidden secret. The arrangement of wood and the large tree form the character Kuan, signifying a trapped state, with eerie green energy swirling around. The source of the trapping formation is revealed. Green, ethereal energy intensely emanates from the courtyard's well, binding the area in a mystical prison. The revelation of the well's power sends a jolt through Wei Han, his eyes widening in stunned realization as the green, ethereal energy emanates intensely. The elderly man looks up with a grim expression, pondering the horrifying implication that he is already lost. He understands that others didn't avoid the door, but simply saw no need to enter anymore. Wei Han directly addresses the elderly man, stating his intention to ask about someone specific. The elderly man, holding a cup, calmly asks who Wei Han is referring to. Wei Han stands before the elderly man, who remains seated in a rocking chair, their conversation continuing amidst the traditional courtyard setting. The elderly man, surprised, questions Wei Han on how he knows about her. Wei Han replies, revealing he learned a few things purely by coincidence. With a sigh of relief, the elderly man expresses his contentment that someone else knows the truth, having believed he would carry these secrets to his grave. The elderly man gazes up at the magnificent Chunshao Pavilion, recounting its past as a theater troupe and how one winter, its madam brought back a young girl. The narrator introduces Qin Yang, describing her beauty and enchanting voice. At 16, she debuted on stage, instantly captivating audiences and rising to fame, attracting countless high officials and nobles who showered her with gifts. The elderly man continues, explaining that Qin Yang was destined for a respectable life, either continuing her singing career or marrying into a good family. However, fate intervened when she found her sweetheart. The narrative shifts abruptly as Woka pirates invade Jiangnan, demanding tribute and threatening a massacre. Despite her youth, Qin Yang's fierce moral integrity meant she would rather die than submit. On that fateful day, over 30 people from Chunshao Pavilion, including the madam who raised her, knelt and pleaded with Qin Yang. Wei Han, listening intently, wonders if Qin Yang ultimately refused to go. The elderly man corrects Wei Han, confirming that Qin Yang did go with the Woka pirates, ensuring no one else in Chunshao Pavilion perished, even as she suffered humiliation. Woka pirates were eventually wiped out by the Great Ming Tiger Guards, and peace returned to Jiangnan. However, Qin Yang was left to face the cruel gossip and accusatory fingers of the public. The elderly man's face contorts in rage as he recounts the vile accusations leveled against Qin Yang, claiming she volunteered to accompany the pirates and branding her a woman of no integrity. The cruel villagers forced Qin Yang, adorned in the very wedding dress she had sewn for herself, to cast herself into a well under the ominous glow of a blood-red moon. Wei Han's expression darkens with understanding, realizing that regardless of the era, the darker aspects of human nature remain tragically constant. The elderly man continues his tragic tale, recalling how on the day Qin Yang cast herself into the well, an unnatural, heavy snow fell in early autumn, as if the heavens themselves wept for the injustice she suffered. Wei Han looks around in disbelief, feeling the snowflakes fall. He questions how it could be snowing in Jiangnan in early spring, a phenomenon eerily mirroring the old man's tragic story. The green, ethereal energy from the well surges upwards with renewed intensity, its mystical power binding the entire area. The ancient stones of the well glow faintly, permeated by the powerful green energy, hinting at the deep magic within. A colossal beam of vibrant green energy erupts from the well, tearing skyward, its raw power undeniable. As the world trembles, a terrifying monster, Qin Yang in her demonic transformed state, rises from a fiery abyss, her multiple red eyes burning with malevolent power, signifying the appearance of ghosts and monsters in the world. Wei Han stands firm, holding aloft a mysterious, ornate artifact, facing down a colossal, armored entity that looms before him. Wei Han unleashes a powerful kick, striking a grotesque green monster with decisive force, sending shockwaves through its body. The fiery tiger aura, Wei Han's combat signature, roars to life, its eyes burning with fierce determination, a manifestation of his unwavering courage. Empowered by the golden tiger aura, Wei Han stands ready for battle, clutching his ornate artifact and a short sword, a formidable warrior against the encroaching darkness. The tragic fate of Qin Yang is revealed. Headless, in her red wedding dress, she sits lifelessly, a pool of blood beneath her, under the chilling gaze of the blood-red moon. The chilling scene of Qin Yang fades as a new narrative voice begins, revealing a quaint, traditional museum, its red doors inviting under a clear sky. A new story unfolds. I run a little museum of my own. But beneath the serene exterior, ancient power stirs. A single, ominous red eye, carved into forgotten stone, glows with an unsettling intensity. These are the beings that haunt the shadows, an assembly of grotesque demons and terrifying beasts. Their forms a testament to the darkness that lurks. Yet hope emerges. Wei Han stands resolute, radiating an ethereal green aura as the spectral form of an ancient, armored warrior manifests behind him, ready for battle. Wei Han looks out, his expression troubled, the dramatic sunset sky reflecting the weight of the challenges he faces, a quiver slung over his shoulder. A grim discovery, a pile of withered bones and a skull, illuminated by a solitary shaft of light. The narrator questions if these are the remains of the old man, noting Qi Nyang's absence. Wei Han, addressing the elderly man seated before him, asks directly if the man in question had failed Qi Nyang. The elderly man reveals that the individual both failed Qi Nyang and didn't, explaining that he joined the army as a student soldier. The elderly man recounts that the soldier was a main force fighting fiercely against the Waka pirates back then, writing numerous letters to Qi Nyang. Wei Han then questions why he never returned. The elderly man gravely reveals the soldier's fate. He died heroically in battle, a spear piercing his chest. Qi Nyang, clad in her red dress, stands somberly as the old man laments that news of his death arrived just 3 days too late, a tragic twist of fate, meaning he wouldn't have had to die. Wei Han, his expression serious, asks if he might be allowed to see the letters written to Qi Nyang. Clutching a stack of old letters, the elderly man urges Wei Han to read them, emphasizing that these stories must never be forgotten, for even if he is dead, someone needs to know. The elderly man reveals a drawing of the soldier and Qi Nyang, confessing his regret and guilt, stating he still owes Qi Nyang 3 kowtows and was too afraid to speak up for her, fearing his own death. Wei Han understands that these letters represent the malicious ghost's past, the final knot in its heart. He realizes if burned and transformed into talisman water, they could inflict massive damage, even causing a mental breakdown if burned directly before the ghost. Spectral warrior behind Wei Han speaks, sensing the passionate longing, future hopes, and deep love for the land contained within the letters, pleading with Wei Han not to burn them. Wei Han reassures the spirit, stating he will not burn the letters. Wei Han questions the elderly man, asking if their current location isn't Chunshao Pavilion, expressing his desire to visit the actual pavilion. The elderly man confirms their current location is not Chunshao Pavilion, adding that he too wishes to see it one last time. The elderly man explains his predicament, lamenting that the sunlight outside is too harsh and his body can no longer move, trapping him within the courtyard despite his many attempts to leave. Wei Han observes that when obsessions persist, the soul does not scatter, instead remaining trapped within a small space, a state known as being earthbound. The narration questions what truly binds the elderly man's soul. Is it the physical land, or the lingering attachments and regrets he holds within his heart? Skull and scattered bones remain, a stark reminder of the elderly man's physical demise, yet his spirit persists, bound by unresolved desires. Wei Han, with a determined gaze, asks the elderly man to wait for him a moment. 10 minutes later, the courtyard entrance stands quietly as dusk settles, hinting at a passage of time and Wei Han's preparations. Wei Han extends an umbrella over the elderly man, inviting him to leave the courtyard as he says, "Let's go, old mister." Wei Han snaps a small, gnarled stick, the sound echoing the decisive action. Wei Han holds the broken stick, now imbued with a subtle energy, his purpose clear. With the umbrella shielding them, Wei Han gently supports the elderly man, inviting him to walk out of the courtyard together. Shielded by the umbrella, the elderly man smiles, expressing his joy at finally being able to walk outside after so long, remarking on the harsh sunlight but marveling at his unexpected speed, realizing he had been confined for too long. Wei Han observes the elderly man's spirit, now translucent and glowing with a soft blue aura, standing freely by the table, finally unburdened from his physical constraints. The elderly man's spirit, translucent and glowing with a soft blue aura, stands unburdened. Little 15 expresses profound gratitude to Wei Han, saying, "Thank you for your trouble, your excellency." Wei Han offers a subtle, knowing smile, his eyes reflecting a quiet confidence. Meanwhile, a sinister green energy writhes and churns above an ancient, traditional building, casting an ominous shadow over the structure. Deep within the cursed domain, Qi Nyang's power surges, her form wreathed in chaotic energy as a voice warns, "Captain, the formation created by the talismans won't hold for much longer." The man in the yellow robe sighs in relief, expressing gratitude that Zhao Yi is still alive, seemingly unaware of the true danger unfolding. The female companion curses, realizing her grave miscalculation. "Damn it, I miscalculated the opponent's strength. She's not just some malicious ghost, but a disaster-level ghostly entity." As the monstrous form of Qi Nyang looms, the female companion grimly states, "This operation, we failed." As they gaze up at the formidable Qin Yang, a grim realization dawns. As soon as we entered the ghost domain, the talismans and magical artifacts we prepared in advance proved useless against her. Unable to cause substantial damage or exploit her actions to expose a flaw, we realized we had only managed to injure one of her divided souls. With a small cut on her cheek, the female companion's thoughts race. Dying here is not scary, but if we let such a ferocious ghostly entity escape. Her expression hardened with resolve. The female companion grips her glowing staff, ready to face the overwhelming threat. With a powerful stomp, Qin Yang shatters the glowing magical formation beneath her, sparks flying as the intricate patterns crack and dissipate. Qin Yang unleashes a terrifying, guttural shriek, her face twisted into a monstrous visage as red energy explodes around her. The female companion shouts to the man in yellow, "Xianyi, cover me. Even if we die, we cannot let this ghostly entity escape." Man in yellow gasps in pain, blood spurting from his mouth as the attack lands. The female companion, enveloped in a fiery aura, chants, "The heavenly Tao is clear, the earthly Tao is tranquil. I now carry the ancient human Tao, swiftly heading to the heavenly realm." Internally, she acknowledges the grim reality. A disaster-level ghost has already exceeded the scope of what we can handle. We can't call for reinforcements. With a powerful surge, the female companion extends her hand, unleashing a brilliant beam of light toward her foe. The golden light arcs through the air, a swift and potent attack cutting through the darkness. But then, the golden attack unexpectedly curves back, leaving a trail of confusion and surprise in its wake. The female companion stares in disbelief as the fiery talisman, meant to call for aid, inexplicably flies back towards her. Why? The talisman meant to call for reinforcements flew back instead. A chilling realization dawns. I understand now. Inside the ghost domain, all 8 directions are inverted. In this special environment, communication talismans are just like modern communication methods. Neither can function. The female companion charges forward, her resolve firm. At this point, we can only rely on ourselves. Let's risk it all. The female companion clashes directly with Qin Yang, who snarls, gripping the staff. The female companion gasps, "What?" Qin Yang's sharp, clawed hand powerfully grips the female companion's staff, causing it to crack under the immense pressure. Qin Yang's horrifying, grinning face looms inches from the female companion, letting out a chilling cackle. Jie, jie, jie. Shadowy tendrils lash out, striking the female companion, who realizes with dread, "It's over, I can't dodge it." Traditional guqin, imbued with a mysterious purple-red energy, falls rapidly through the air. The guqin slams down with explosive force, detonating in a burst of fire and light upon impact. The guqin lies on the ground, having successfully intercepted the attack, its presence creating ripples of energy. Wei Han stands confidently, holding both his umbrella and the guqin, a smirk playing on his lips. He announces, Chuanzhou's Wei Yuan, invited by Qin Yang, has come to listen to a song. Wei Han has made his presence known. The stage is set and the true challenge is revealed. The past has already blown away with the wind, yet the ghostly entity causing trouble is still here tonight. The crucial question now looms. Can Wei Han defeat her?